Hey there, storytellers and story lovers. This is Scion What Ifs. Prepare yourselves for today's incredible narrative. What if Goku was born as Zeno's guardian? A quick reminder, your likes, comments, and subscriptions are the fuel that keeps this channel running. Thank you for being awesome. Let's begin this journey together. Chapter 1, The Restless Guardian. Goku paced along the crystalline bridge connecting the eastern towers of Zeno's palace, his white and gold guardian robes flowing behind him. The endless expanse of multicolored cosmic energy swirled beneath, countless universes twinkling like diamonds scattered across an infinite void. He should have been used to this view after centuries of service, but it still made his skin tingle with excitement and curiosity. What's out there today? He wondered aloud, leaning dangerously far over the bridge's edge. His muscles tensed with natural scion instinct, ready for a fight that wasn't coming, at least not today. A small, high-pitched voice called from behind him. Goku! Where are you hiding? Goku's serious expression instantly melted into a warm smile as he turned to face the approaching figure. The Omni King, ruler of all existence, destroyer of universes, and currently pouting because his favorite guardian wasn't where expected. Zeno-sama. I wasn't hiding, just checking the eastern perimeter again. Goku scratched the back of his head, a habit he'd never managed to break despite the Grand Priest's countless lessons on proper guardian decorum. Zeno floated up to eye level with Goku, his tiny body barely reaching Goku's knee otherwise. The childlike deity tilted his head, colorful aura pulsing with curiosity. You checked it 3 times already today. Are you expecting someone bad? Zeno asked, voice shifting between childish wonder and ancient power. Goku shrugged. Not exactly. Just feeling restless. Restless means you want to fight someone, Zeno stated matter-of-factly, poking Goku's chest. You always get this look when you want to fight. Am I that obvious? Goku laughed, the sound echoing across the divine architecture. Yep. Zeno spun in midair. Wanna play the battle game again? I can make new fighters appear. Goku gently placed a hand on Zeno's shoulder. Maybe later, Zeno-sama. The gods of destruction are arriving soon for their centennial review. We should probably head back to the main hall. Zeno's face scrunched up in disappointment before brightening again. Oh. That means Beerus is coming. He makes funny faces when he's scared. He sure does, Goku agreed, guiding his charge back toward the central palace. And you promised not to erase anyone today, remember? I remember, Zeno nodded seriously. Unless they're super annoying. Then maybe just a little erasing. How about no erasing at all? Goku suggested, stepping into the gravity lift that would carry them upward through the palace's impossible architecture. Fine, Zeno agreed, then whispered dramatically, but only because you asked nicely. The lift accelerated, carrying them through layers of reality toward the grand hall. Goku felt that familiar itch between his shoulder blades, the sensation he'd come to recognize as divine energy gathering. The gods of destruction were arriving, and despite himself, Goku's blood began to pump faster. The grand hall of existence stretched beyond mortal comprehension, its walls shifting between solid matter and pure energy. 12 elaborate thrones arranged in a semicircle awaited their divine occupants. At the center, elevated above all, sat Zeno's playful-looking but cosmically terrifying throne, built from materials that predated the current multiverse. Goku stood at attention beside it, posture perfect but eyes constantly scanning. The Grand Priest hovered nearby, his perpetual serene smile masking whatever thoughts lay behind those ancient eyes. You seem particularly vigilant today, Goku, the Grand Priest observed, voice calm as still water. Something feels off, Goku replied, not breaking his visual sweep of the hall. Can't put my finger on it. The Grand Priest raised an eyebrow. Your instincts have proven valuable before. Anything specific causing concern? Goku rolled his shoulders, feeling the weight of his guardian armor beneath his ceremonial robes. The space between universes 8 and 9 felt thinner when I checked this morning. And there's been unusual energy fluctuations near the null realm. I see, the Grand Priest said, expression unchanged. Perhaps merely cosmic adjustments, but worth investigating after today's proceedings. A flash of divine light announced the first arrival. Beerus, god of destruction from Universe 7, materialized alongside his angel attendant Whis. The feline destroyer looked as irritable as ever, ears twitching with annoyance at being summoned. Ah, the chronically irritable Beerus arrives first, the Grand Priest announced. Punctuality is appreciated. Let's just get this over with, Beerus grumbled, then froze when his gaze met Zeno's. He immediately straightened, fear replacing irritation. I mean, it's an honor to be in your divine presence, Omni King. Zeno giggled. Beerus is already making funny faces. Goku suppressed a smile as the rest of the destroyers appeared in rapid succession, Kampa, Belmod, Quitella, and others, each powerful enough to annihilate galaxies with a thought, yet each bowing nervously before Zeno's childlike form. Goku! Kampa called out, his round face breaking into a rare smile. Still babysitting, I see. Goku stepped forward, hand instinctively moving closer to Zeno in a protective gesture. Guardian duties going strong, Lord Kampa. How's the sealed section of Universe 6 holding up after that incident with the Time Breakers? Kampa's smile faltered. Fine, fine. Nothing I couldn't handle. With considerable assistance, Vados, his attendant, added with a smirk. The gathering proceeded with formal introductions and reports on universal stability. Goku maintained his position beside Zeno but couldn't shake the growing unease in his gut. Something was definitely wrong. Midway through Belmod's report on mortal development rates, Goku felt it, a subtle vibration in reality itself, like a tuning fork struck against the fabric of existence. His eyes darted to the Grand Priest, who gave the barest of nods, confirming he sensed it too. Something approaches, Goku whispered to Zeno. Stay behind me. Is it a game? Zeno asked, excitement replacing confusion. Not this time, Goku replied, shedding his ceremonial outer robe with a quick motion, revealing the battle-ready guardian armor beneath. The light blue and white metal gleamed with divine runes of protection, fitted perfectly to his muscular frame. The gods of destruction fell silent, sensing the change in atmosphere. Beerus stood, energy of destruction swirling around his claws. What is this? Who dares? Reality cracked. Not metaphorically, an actual fissure split the air near the hall's ceiling, spreading like spiderwebs across the dimensional barriers. Goku was moving before anyone could react, his form blurring with divine speed as he positioned himself directly beneath the breach. Grand Priest, protective formation Omega around Zeno-sama. Goku shouted, power surging through his body. The breach widened, and something emerged, shadowy tendrils composed of anti-creation energy, a negative force that shouldn't exist in the current multiverse. The tendrils shot toward the assembled deities with purpose, targeting not randomly, but specifically toward Zeno. Goku's hands moved in precise patterns, golden energy flaring from his palms. Divine Barrier, Guardian's Aegis. A transparent dome of energy encapsulated Zeno just as the Grand Priest established his own multi-layered protection. The gods of destruction launched into action, each firing destruction energy at the invading tendrils. Those won't work. Goku called out, seeing their energy simply pass through the shadowy appendages. It's not matter or energy, it's void essence. Goku leapt upward, directly into the path of the attack. His hands glowed with a unique energy, not the purple destruction of the destroyer gods, not the blue creation energy of the supreme Kais, but something in between, golden protection energy unique to his guardian status. Solar Guardian Strike. His fist connected with the central mass of tendrils, and for a brief moment, everything froze. The collision of guardian energy against void essence created a temporal discontinuity. Goku pushed harder, his scion battle instincts flaring alongside his divine training. The shadowy mass recoiled, seeming surprised that anything could touch it. It pulsed once, twice, then retreated through the breach with unexpected speed. Sealing technique, divine closure, the Grand Priest called out, geometric patterns of light surrounding the breach. The fissure began to close, reality knitting itself back together. Before it sealed completely, Goku caught a glimpse through the breach, not of another universe or the void between them, but something else entirely. A space beyond spaces, where a pair of glowing eyes stared back at him with unmistakable recognition. Then the breach closed, reality stabilized, and the attack was over, leaving the divine assembly stunned into silence. Zeno clapped his hands excitedly. "Wow, Goku! You punched the shadow monster. Do it again." The gods of destruction exchanged worried glances. Beerus approached cautiously. What in all existence was that? Nothing should be able to breach the Omni King's palace. Goku landed softly beside Zeno's throne, his expression uncharacteristically serious. Something that shouldn't exist in this multiverse. Something old. The Grand Priest floated down, his usual calm demeanor showing the slightest crack of concern. This meeting is adjourned. All gods of destruction, return to your universes and conduct thorough inspections for similar anomalies. Report any findings immediately. As the destroyers departed with unprecedented haste, Goku knelt before Zeno. "Are you alright, Zeno-sama?" "That was exciting." Zeno exclaimed, then paused, expression becoming momentarily thoughtful. "But those shadows felt familiar. Like from before I made everything." Goku and the Grand Priest exchanged alarmed glances. "Before you made everything?" Goku asked carefully. Zeno simply shrugged. "Maybe. It was a really long time ago. Can we have snacks now? Fighting shadow monsters makes me hungry." The Grand Priest nodded to an attendant, who quickly departed to fetch refreshments. Once Zeno was distracted with a divine puzzle box, the Grand Priest motioned for Goku to follow him to a private antechamber. That was no ordinary breach, the Grand Priest stated once they were alone. "No kidding," Goku agreed, flexing his right hand, which still tingled from contact with the void essence. Whatever that was, it was targeting Zeno specifically. "And did you hear what he said? About it feeling familiar from before he made everything?" The Grand Priest's expression grew grave. "There are entities that predate the current multiverse structure. Remnants from previous cosmic cycles. They should be sealed beyond reach, yet one just attacked the most protected being in existence," Goku finished. "And I'm pretty sure it recognized me somehow." "Impossible," the Grand Priest replied too quickly. Goku's eyes narrowed. "There's something you're not telling me. About me. About why I was chosen as guardian." The Grand Priest was silent for a long moment, his ageless face revealing nothing. Finally, he spoke, each word measured carefully. "Your selection was not arbitrary. There are qualities within your soul that made you uniquely suited to this position." "Because I'm Saiyan?" Goku pressed. "That is part of it," the Grand Priest conceded. The Saiyan race has always had a peculiar connection to divine energy, though most never realize it. But there is more to your specific case. "Like what?" The Grand Priest turned away. "Now is not the time for that discussion. What matters is strengthening our defenses against further incursions." Frustration flared through Goku, but he pushed it down. Centuries of guardian training had at least taught him when to press and when to wait. "Fine. But this conversation isn't over." "No," the Grand Priest agreed, "I expect it isn't." Hours later, after ensuring Zeno was safely entertaining himself with creating and uncreating small pocket dimensions in his playroom, Goku retreated to his private training chamber. Unlike the pristine white and gold that dominated most of the palace, Goku had been granted rare permission to modify his personal space. The gravity controls were set to 500 times normal, a comfortable warm-up by his standards. Shedding his guardian armor, Goku stood in simple training gi, black with golden trim representing his status. Closing his eyes, he centered himself, then launched into a series of movements too fast for mortal eyes to follow. Each punch, kick, and leap was performed with absolute precision, the result of centuries honing his technique. Divine energy flowed through his body, enhancing his natural scion strength to levels that would make even gods of destruction wary. Yet it wasn't enough. That shadow creature had retreated, yes, but Goku hadn't defeated it. And something about those eyes that stared back at him. "Computer, increase gravity to 700, Goku commanded. The chamber hummed, and the additional pressure forced Goku's muscles to work harder. Sweat began to bead on his forehead as he moved through more complex attack patterns, each designed specifically to counter different types of divine and anti-divine energies. You train even after repelling an impossible attack. Your scion nature remains strong despite centuries in divine service." Goku didn't break his pattern as he acknowledged the newcomer. "I failed today, Whis. The attack retreated, not because I defeated it, but because it chose to leave." Whis, angel attendant to Beerus, leaned casually on his staff at the chamber's entrance. "Perhaps. Or perhaps you surprised it. Few beings can touch void essence directly." Goku completed his sequence with a final energy pulse that shattered several training drones. "Computer, return gravity to normal." He turned to face Whis fully. "Shouldn't you be with Beerus, inspecting Universe 7? Lord Beerus is quite capable of scanning his domain alone, though he'll undoubtedly nap through half of it," Whis replied with a small smile. "I came because that entity left traces of energy unlike anything I've encountered in my considerable existence." "And you thought I might know something about it?" Goku grabbed a towel, wiping sweat from his face. "I thought you might have questions about it," Whis corrected. Questions the Grand Priest might be hesitant to answer fully. Goku stopped mid-motion. "You know something." "I know many things," Whis replied, spinning his staff idly. "Including that your position as Zeno's guardian is unprecedented. No mortal-born being has ever served in such capacity." "I'm hardly mortal anymore," Goku pointed out. "No," Whis agreed. "But your soul retains its mortal origin, unlike angels who were created as divine beings. That makes you unique, a bridge between realms in a way no other entity can claim." Goku approached Whis, curiosity overriding caution. "The Grand Priest mentioned something about my soul having qualities that made me suited for this role. What did he mean?" Whis's expression grew serious. "There is an ancient scion prophecy, dating back to when your race first developed consciousness. It speaks of a warrior soul that would ascend beyond divine boundaries and stand guard at the pinnacle of existence, not through conquest, but through a unique harmony between strength and protection." "And they think that's me?" Goku asked skeptically. "The prophecy is remarkably specific about certain soul energy patterns. Patterns you possess." Whis tapped his staff on the floor, and a holographic image appeared between them, a complex, spiraling energy signature. "This is your soul's resonance pattern, recorded when you first entered divine service." A second pattern appeared alongside it, similar but with subtle differences. "And this is the pattern described in the prophecy, recorded over 10 million years ago." Goku studied both images, seeing the unmistakable similarities. "That still doesn't explain why that shadow recognized me." "No," Whis agreed. "That suggests something far more complicated. Perhaps connections that span beyond the current multiverse structure." Before Goku could ask more, an alarm blared throughout the palace. Red energy pulses ran along the walls, indicating a security breach. Again. Goku was already moving, his GI instantly replaced by guardian armor through divine materialization. "That's impossible, we just reinforced the barriers." Whis followed, staff at the ready. "Perhaps not the same type of breach." They raced through the palace's quantum corridors, reality bending around them as they took shortcuts through dimensional folds. Goku's heart pounded not with fear but with anticipation. This time he would be ready. They emerged in the palace's western observatory, a massive spherical chamber where Zeno often watched universal developments. The Grand Priest was already there, along with a platoon of celestial guards, beings made of condensed divine light that served as the palace's first line of defense. "Report," Goku commanded, taking his place beside the Grand Priest. "Multiple breaches, smaller than before but more numerous," the Grand Priest explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing the palace complex. 12 small ruptures were forming along the outer perimeter. "They're testing our defenses, looking for weaknesses." "Where's Zeno-sama?" Goku asked, scanning for his charge. "Secure in the creation chamber. Nothing can reach him there without passing through us first." Goku nodded, then turned to Whis. "Care to help? Or is this outside your jurisdiction?" Whis smiled. "I believe universal security falls within my purview, and this certainly qualifies. Besides, I'm curious about these entities." The palace shuddered as the first of the smaller breaches fully opened. Unlike the shadowy tendrils from before, what emerged were more substantial, humanoid figures composed of swirling negative energy, their forms painful to look at directly, as if they were wounds in reality itself. "Void Walkers," the Grand Priest whispered, genuine surprise in his voice. "They haven't been seen since the third cosmic restructuring. I'm guessing they're not friendly?" Goku asked, settling into a fighting stance. "They are antithetical to our very existence," the Grand Priest replied. "In simplest terms, they want to unmake everything back to primordial chaos." "Well, they picked the wrong palace to invade," Goku stated, golden energy flowing around his fists. "Celestial Guard, Defensive Formation Delta. Protect the inner corridors." The light beings moved with perfect coordination, forming a barrier of divine energy. Goku didn't wait for the Void Walkers to advance, he launched himself forward, moving at speeds that distorted space around him. His fist connected with the first Void Walker, and unlike the shadowy tendrils, this being had physical substance. It flew backward, crashing through one of the observatory's crystal pillars. But it recovered quickly, its form rippling before stabilizing again. "Physical attacks slow them but won't stop them," the Grand Priest called out. "They must be sealed or completely dispersed." "Got it." Goku called back, dodging as a Void Walker swiped at him with elongated claws. He countered with a sweep kick, followed by an energy-enhanced palm strike to its core. Solar Guardian Pulse. Golden energy exploded from his palm, temporarily dispersing the Void Walker's form. But already Goku could see it beginning to reassemble, particles of void essence drawing back together. Across the chamber, Whis moved with elegant efficiency, his staff creating complex patterns of light that trapped 3 Void Walkers in temporal stasis. "I can hold these briefly, but a more permanent solution is needed." The Grand Priest joined the battle directly, his movements so precise and powerful that reality itself seemed to bend around him. With each gesture, he created sealing formulas of incredible complexity. Goku found himself surrounded by 4 Void Walkers, each moving in perfect coordination with the others. They were learning, adapting to his fighting style with each exchange. One caught his arm, and Goku felt an immediate numbing cold spread through his limb. Contact with their essence was draining his divine energy directly. "Enough playing around," Goku muttered, breaking free with a burst of power. His eyes narrowed in concentration as he accessed deeper reserves of energy, the unique combination of his Saiyan heritage and divine training. Golden light exploded outward as Goku's power surged. His hair shifted from black to a brilliant gold with hints of divine blue, standing upright with the sheer force of energy flowing through him. This wasn't a standard Super Saiyan transformation, it was something evolved, refined through centuries of divine infusion. "Divine Saiyan Ascension," the Grand Priest observed, momentarily pausing his battle. "You've been practicing in secret." Goku didn't respond, too focused on the battle. In this state, he could see the Void Walkers more clearly, could perceive the patterns of anti-creation energy that composed their forms. And more importantly, he could see how to disrupt those patterns. Moving with newfound speed and precision, Goku attacked not their physical forms but the energy connections that held them together. Each strike targeted specific nodes in their composition, golden energy counteracting the void essence. One by one, the void walkers began to destabilize permanently, their forms dissolving into harmless particles that the palace's defensive systems could neutralize. Within minutes, all 12 intruders had been dispatched. Goku's transformation faded, his hair returning to its natural black state as he caught his breath. That was different from the first attack. More coordinated. Indeed, the Grand Priest agreed, examining the residual energy patterns. The first was a probe, testing our defenses and confirming certain information. This was the beginning of a strategic assault. Testing how we respond, Whis added, rejoining them after ensuring all void essence was completely neutralized. Learning our capabilities and tactics. Goku's expression hardened. Which means there will be more attacks, each stronger and smarter than the last. Most concerning, the Grand Priest said quietly, is that they seem particularly focused on Zeno-sama. These entities have no reason to target the Omni King specifically unless... Unless what? Goku pressed. The Grand Priest hesitated. Unless they know something about Zeno-sama's true nature that makes him uniquely vulnerable to them. Goku frowned. I thought nothing could threaten Zeno-sama. He's the Omni King, the most powerful being in existence. In this existence, the Grand Priest corrected carefully. But these entities come from beyond our multiverse's parameters. The rules that govern our reality may not apply to them in the same way. Whis examined his staff, which displayed complex energy readings. These attacks are originating from a specific point, a weakness in the barrier between our multiverse and whatever lies beyond. Specifically, near what you mortals would call the edge of existence. Goku looked between the two angelic beings. So what's the plan? We can't just wait for the next attack, especially if they're getting stronger each time. The Grand Priest considered for a moment. We strengthen our defenses, analyze the energy signatures, and prepare countermeasures. That's not enough, Goku argued. We need to take the fight to them, find this weakness in the barrier and seal it properly. That would require leaving the palace, leaving Zeno-sama unprotected, the Grand Priest countered. Goku stood straighter. Not unprotected. You're here, along with the Celestial Guard. And I wouldn't go alone. If these void entities are targeting Zeno-sama specifically, we need to stop them at their source before they marshal enough strength for a full-scale attack. The Grand Priest was silent, clearly weighing options. Finally, he spoke. Such a mission would be unprecedented. No Guardian has ever left Zeno-sama's side for an extended period. Unprecedented times call for unprecedented actions, Whis interjected smoothly. And Goku's unique abilities may make him the only one capable of addressing this threat directly. Goku turned toward the inner palace. Let me speak with Zeno-sama. This should be his decision too. The creation chamber sat at the very heart of Zeno's palace, a perfect sphere of shifting colors and energies where the Omni King could manipulate reality itself with mere thoughts. Unlike the rest of the palace's grandeur, this space felt almost playful, with floating toys and miniature universe models scattered about. Zeno sat cross-legged in the center, creating tiny galaxies and watching them spin before disintegrating them back into base energy. He looked up as Goku entered, face brightening. Goku. Did you fight more shadow monsters? Goku knelt respectfully, but with the familiarity of centuries spent as both guardian and friend. I did, Zeno-sama. We got rid of them all, but I think more might be coming. Zeno tilted his head. They feel wrong. Not like regular universe stuff. That's right, Goku agreed. They're from somewhere else. Somewhere outside all the universes you watch over. The before place, Zeno said simply. Goku blinked in surprise. You remember a before place? Zeno nodded, then scrunched his face in concentration. Sort of. It's really fuzzy. There was nothing and everything all mixed up. And lots of others like me, but also not like me. We didn't get along. This was new information, information even the Grand Priest might not be aware of. Goku chose his next words carefully. Zeno-sama, I think the shadow monsters might be from this before place. And they might be coming specifically for you. Are they mad at me? Zeno asked, suddenly looking very much like the child he appeared to be, despite his unfathomable power. Maybe, Goku said gently. But that's why I'm here, to protect you. And that's why I need to ask you something important. Zeno leaned forward, curious. I think I need to go find where these shadow monsters are coming from and stop them there, Goku explained. But that means I'd have to leave the palace for a while. I wouldn't be here to protect you directly. Zeno's eyes widened in alarm. But you're my guardian. You're supposed to stay with me. I know, Goku said softly. And I don't want to leave you. But sometimes the best way to protect someone is to stop the danger before it reaches them. Zeno floated upward, tiny hands clasped in thought. The Grand Priest would still be here. And the shiny light people? Yes, Goku confirmed. You'd be well protected. And I'd come back as soon as possible. Zeno circled Goku's head, examining him from all angles as if seeing him in a new light. You want to fight the shadow monsters. I can tell. Your eyes get all sparkly when you want to fight. Goku couldn't help but smile. You know me too well, Zeno-sama. Yes, I want to fight them. But more importantly, I want to keep you safe. Zeno stopped his floating circuit and hovered directly in front of Goku's face. For a brief moment, something ancient and unfathomably wise flashed behind the childlike eyes. I'll make it a special mission. Guardian Goku goes to fight the shadow monsters from the before place. Zeno declared, creating a small light show with his hands to emphasize the pronouncement. But you have to promise to come back. And tell me all about it. Goku bowed his head. I promise, Zeno-sama. And take something with you. Zeno waved his hand, and a small orb of pulsing light appeared. It floated to Goku, hovering above his palm without touching it. A little piece of my power. Just in case you need to show the shadow monsters who's boss. Goku stared at the orb in awe. Zeno rarely shared his power directly, it was simply too volatile, too dangerous. This small fragment contained enough energy to destroy multiple galaxies. Thank you, Zeno-sama. I'll use it wisely. It's like a game. Zeno clapped his hands excitedly. But a serious game. An important mission game. As Goku carefully secured the orb in a special containment field at his belt, he wondered if Zeno truly understood the gravity of the situation, or if, perhaps, the Omni King understood far more than he let on. The Grand Priest waited in the antechamber, expression unreadable as always. When Goku emerged from his meeting with Zeno, the divine attendant simply raised an eyebrow in question. He's agreed, Goku reported. Called it a special mission game. Interesting, the Grand Priest mused. And unsurprising. Zeno-sama has always held you in unusual regard. Before I go, Goku said, eyes narrowing slightly, I want the truth. Zeno mentioned a before place with others like him but not like him. What didn't you tell me about what we're facing? The Grand Priest was silent for a long moment, his ageless face finally showing a flicker of concern. The current multiverse structure is not the first iteration of existence. Before Zeno-sama established the 12 universes and their connected realms, there was another configuration. Overseen by multiple entities of similar power. Similar power to Zeno? Goku asked incredulously. Similar, though perhaps not equal, the Grand Priest clarified. These entities, we call them primordials, existed in a constant state of creative conflict. Their struggles shaped and reshaped existence countless times until eventually, a great cataclysm occurred. What kind of cataclysm? The details are lost to all but a few, the Grand Priest admitted. What we know is that afterward, only Zeno-sama remained, and he established the current, more stable multiverse structure, with clear hierarchies and laws of physics. Goku processed this information, pieces falling into place. And you think these shadow creatures are connected to these primordials? Maybe even are primordials. It's a possibility we cannot dismiss, the Grand Priest acknowledged. Which is why your mission is both vital and exceptionally dangerous. Goku grinned, a flash of his Saiyan battlelust showing through his guardian decorum. Dangerous missions are my specialty. The Grand Priest almost smiled. Indeed. Your enthusiasm for combat has often been both your greatest strength and your most concerning trait as a guardian. So, how do I find this weak point in the barrier? Goku asked, already mentally preparing for the journey. Whis has isolated the general location, the Grand Priest explained, creating a holographic map of the multiverse. It exists in a pocket dimension between universes 7 and 9, accessible only through specific dimensional frequencies. Goku studied the map, memorizing the coordinates. And once I find it, assess the situation first, the Grand Priest instructed. If it's a simple breach, you may be able to seal it with your guardian energy. If it's more complex, well, improvisation has always been one of your talents. Who's coming with me? Goku asked. I've arranged for Whis to accompany you part of the way, the Grand Priest replied. Beyond that, you may need to recruit additional allies. Perhaps from Universe 7, given your unique connection to that realm. Goku raised an eyebrow. What connection? The Grand Priest waved a hand dismissively. A topic for another time, perhaps. What matters now is preparing for your departure. The next attack could come at any moment. Goku knew a deflection when he heard one, but let it pass. There would be time for those answers later. When do we leave? Immediately, the Grand Priest said. I've already prepared a specialized transport cube that will allow you to move between dimensions more efficiently than standard divine travel. Goku nodded, then hesitated. I know you'll protect Zeno-sama with your life, but, keep him entertained too, okay? He gets destructive when he's bored. For the first time in their centuries of interaction, the Grand Priest looked genuinely amused. Parenting advice, Guardian Goku. How times have changed. Goku shrugged. Just saying, a happy Zeno is a Zeno less likely to erase things on a whim. Your concern is noted, the Grand Priest replied. Now, you should prepare. Pack only essentials, the journey between dimensional barriers is not conducive to excess baggage. Goku nodded and turned to leave, but the Grand Priest's voice stopped him. Goku. There is something else you should know. The Grand Priest's tone had shifted, becoming more solemn. If these entities truly are connected to the primordials, they may recognize something in you as well. Why would they recognize me? Goku asked, turning back. Because the Guardian selection is not random, nor is it based solely on ability, the Grand Priest explained carefully. It is based on soul resonance. Each Omni King has a counterbalance, a guardian whose soul frequency harmonizes perfectly with their own. In all the multiverse, you were the only being whose soul resonated with Zeno-sama's. Goku frowned. And that means what exactly? It means your connection to Zeno-sama goes deeper than duty or friendship, the Grand Priest said. On some fundamental level, your existences are intertwined. The primordials may sense this connection, may even have expected it. You're saying I was destined to be his guardian? That sounds like fate mumbo-jumbo to me. The Grand Priest shook his head. Not destined. Uniquely compatible. The distinction is important. Goku considered this, then shrugged. Doesn't change what needs to be done. I'll find this breach, deal with whatever's causing it, and come back. Simple. Nothing about this situation is simple, the Grand Priest corrected. But your confidence is reassuring. Go now, prepare yourself. Whis will meet you at the dimensional transit hub. Goku bowed respectfully, then departed with purpose in his stride. As he made his way to his quarters to gather supplies, his mind raced with new questions. Soul resonance with Zeno. Primordials from before the multiverse. A connection to Universe 7 he didn't know about. Whatever was happening, one thing was certain, the monotony of palace guard duty was definitely over. An hour later, Goku stood at the edge of the palace's dimensional transit hub, a swirling vortex of cosmic energy that connected to all points in the multiverse. He had changed from his formal guardian attire to a more practical battle suit, black with gold trim, reinforced with divine metals at key points but flexible enough for his fighting style. At his belt hung various tools of his trade, dimensional anchors, sealing talismans, and of course, Zeno's gift, carefully contained in a special holding sphere. Whis approached, looking as casual as ever despite the gravity of their mission. "Ready for our little excursion, Guardian Goku?" "Been ready for about 200 years, Goku replied with a grin. "Palace life isn't exactly packed with excitement." "Careful what you wish for," Whis cautioned, though his tone remained light. Excitement in divine matters often comes with multiverse-threatening consequences. The Grand Priest joined them, presenting a small cube of shifting dimensional energy. "This will guide you to the breach point. It's attuned to the void essence we detected." Goku accepted the cube, securing it in one of his belt pouches. "Any last advice before we head out?" "Trust your guardian instincts," the Grand Priest said. "They were honed for exactly this purpose. And remember, your primary duty remains to Zeno-sama, even at a distance." "I know my duty," Goku assured him. "I've been doing this job since before most current galaxies were formed." The Grand Priest nodded. "Indeed you have. Which is why, despite occasional concerns about your enthusiasm for combat, I believe you are uniquely qualified for this mission." High praise from the normally reserved Grand Priest. Goku straightened, suddenly feeling the weight of responsibility even more keenly. "I won't let you down. Or Zeno-sama." "See that you don't," the Grand Priest replied, then stepped back. "The transit is calibrated for your departure. May the divine flow guide your path." Goku turned to Whis. "Ready when you are." Whis tapped his staff twice on the floor, and the vortex before them shifted color, aligning with their destination. "Our first stop will be the Null Realm, the space between universes. From there, we can better trace the origin of the breach." Goku took a deep breath, centered his energy, and nodded. "Let's go." Together, they stepped into the vortex, reality warping around them as they left the safety of Zeno's palace behind. The last thing Goku heard was a childish voice calling from somewhere in the palace, "Good luck, Goku. Come back with awesome stories." Then they were gone, hurtling through the dimensional currents toward the edge of known existence, and whatever waited beyond. Chapter 2, Descent to the Mortal Realm. Traveling between dimensions felt like being pulled apart and reassembled at the same time. Goku had made countless journeys through divine realms, but never quite like this, beyond the established pathways, into the spaces between spaces. The transit vortex stretched his consciousness, colors and sensations blurring into an incomprehensible stream. "Focus on your core energy," was instructed beside him, his voice somehow perfectly clear despite the dimensional turbulence. "The void between universes seeks to scatter unfamiliar entities." Goku centered himself, drawing his divine guardian energy inward to maintain his coherence. The chaotic swirl gradually stabilized, and reality, or something approximating it, began to take shape around them. They emerged into the Null Realm, the vast emptiness between universes. No stars, no planets, not even the concept of space as mortals understood it. Just endless gray nothingness stretching in all directions, occasionally punctuated by streams of cosmic energy connecting the various universes like a celestial web. "Cheery place," Goku commented, rolling his shoulders as his physical form fully reintegrated. "It's not meant to be inhabited," Whis replied, scanning their surroundings with his staff. "Merely transited. Though I suppose that makes it the perfect hiding place for entities that shouldn't exist." The tracking cube pulsed at Goku's belt, emitting a soft vibration. He removed it, watching as one facet glowed brighter than the others, pointing like a compass. That way, apparently, Goku said, gesturing toward what would be north if directions had any meaning here. They moved through the void, not exactly flying but shifting their existence from one point to another. Conventional physics had no purchase in this place, only will and energy mattered. I've always wondered, Goku said as they traveled, why 12 universes? Why not 10, or 15, or 100? Whis gave him a sideways glance. You've been Zeno's guardian for centuries and never asked him this directly. I did once, Goku admitted with a grin. He said, because 12 is a fun number, and then created a toy with 12 heads. Ah, Whis nodded sagely. Well, there is slightly more to it. 12 represents balance in the divine arithmetic, 6 pairs of twin universes, each complementing the other. Originally, there were 18. Goku raised an eyebrow. What happened to the other 6? That would be a question for another time, Whis deflected smoothly, then stopped abruptly. Look there. Ahead, the grayness of the null realm distorted, like fabric stretched too thin. Swirls of dark energy, deeper than black, spiraled around a central point where reality itself seemed to be fraying. The breach, Goku whispered, instinctively lowering his energy signature to avoid detection. Whis nodded, his expression unusually serious. And it's growing. This tear shouldn't be possible. The barriers between our multiverse and the external void were established by Zeno himself at the beginning of this cosmic cycle. They approached cautiously, keeping distance. The tracking cube vibrated more intensely, almost humming with recognition. Can we seal it from here? Goku asked, already gathering guardian energy in his palm. Whis studied the breach with narrowed eyes. This isn't a natural deterioration. Something is pulling from the other side, something with enough power to counter divine barriers. Before Goku could respond, movement caught his eye, shadows detaching from the breach, forming into void walkers similar to those they'd fought in Zeno's palace. But these looked more substantial, more defined, with almost humanoid features forming in their void essence bodies. They're evolving, Goku muttered, dropping into a fighting stance. Adapting to our realm. And they've spotted us, Whis added calmly, raising his staff as the void walkers changed direction, surging toward them. Goku didn't wait for them to reach his position. He launched forward, guardian energy forming around his fists like golden flames. The first void walker met him with surprising coordination, blocking his initial strike and countering with a swipe of elongated claws. They're definitely getting smarter, Goku called out, dodging the counterattack and landing a powerful kick that sent the creature tumbling through the void. And stronger. Whis engaged 3 void walkers simultaneously, his staff creating complex patterns that trapped and disrupted their forms. Indeed. Most concerning. More emerged from the breach, quickly surrounding them. Goku counted at least 15, too many to defeat individually without being overwhelmed. Time for a new approach, he decided, floating back to position himself near Whis. Cover me for 3 seconds. Precisely 3, Whis agreed, expanding his divine barrier to enclose them both. Goku closed his eyes, centering his energy. Then, drawing upon centuries of training, he released it in a specific pattern, not an explosion, but a targeted wave of golden guardian energy that spread outward in concentric rings. Guardian Art, Purification Wave. The energy collided with the void walkers, not attacking their physical forms but the void essence itself. Where it touched, the negative energy destabilized, unable to maintain coherence. One by one, the creatures dissolved, their substance returning to base particles that dissipated in the null realm. Goku exhaled slowly, the effort of such precise energy control taking its toll. That should buy us some time. Impressive technique, Whis noted. Not something I've seen from you before. Been developing it for dealing with corruption outbreaks in lower divine realms, Goku explained. Never had a chance to test it on void essence though. They turned their attention back to the breach, which pulsed ominously, as if reacting to their presence. We need to get closer, Goku decided. See what's actually causing this from the other side. Inadvisable, Whis countered. Crossing that threshold would expose you to primordial chaos. Even your divine guardian status wouldn't protect you for long. Goku frowned, studying the breach. There must be a way to, his words cut off as the breach suddenly expanded, doubling in size with a silent burst of negative energy. Through the widened tear, Goku caught glimpses of something. Not darkness, not light, but a churning mass of potential, where reality itself seemed fluid and unformed. And within that chaotic potential, a pair of eyes, the same ones he'd glimpsed through the palace breach. They locked onto Goku with unmistakable recognition. A voice echoed in his mind, not heard but felt, resonating at a frequency that made his very soul vibrate. Guardian, counterbalance, the cycle repeats. Goku staggered back, the alien presence in his mind overwhelming. Whis steadied him with a hand on his shoulder, concern visible even on his normally composed face. What did you perceive? Whis asked urgently. A consciousness, Goku managed, shaking his head to clear it. It recognized me, or at least my role. Said something about a cycle repeating. Whis's grip on his staff tightened. We should withdraw. Now. This entity is attempting to establish a direct connection to you. Before they could retreat, the breach pulsed again, but instead of expanding further, it began to stabilize, its edges becoming more defined, less chaotic. It's not just a random tear, Goku realized. It's being shaped. Controlled. Into a gateway, Whis concluded, already pulling Goku back. We need to report this immediately. Goku resisted, eyes still fixed on the breach. But we haven't learned enough yet. If we leave now, if we stay, we risk being caught when that gateway fully forms, Whis interrupted firmly. And whatever comes through might be far beyond what even we can handle. Reluctantly, Goku nodded, recognizing the wisdom in Whis's caution. But as they prepared to depart, the tracking cube at his belt suddenly shattered, its fragments dissolving into the void. In the same instant, the breach contracted violently, shrinking to a pinpoint before vanishing completely. What just happened? Goku asked, stunned by the sudden change. Whis studied the empty space where the breach had been, his expression troubled. It wasn't destroyed. It was relocated. The entity controlling it sensed our investigation and moved its operation. Can we track it? Not with our current methods, Whis admitted. The cube was our primary means of tracing void essence. Goku's fists clenched in frustration. So we've got nothing. Not quite nothing, Whis corrected. We've confirmed these incursions are deliberately controlled, not random events. And we know the controlling entity recognized you, or at least your position as guardian. Great, Goku muttered. So we know we're dealing with a smart, powerful being that can rip holes between dimensions and knows who I am. That really narrows it down. Whis actually smiled at the sarcasm. Your time with Zeno-sama has certainly developed your personality beyond the typical guardian stoicism. Goku sighed, forcing himself to refocus. So what now? Back to the palace? No, Whis decided after a moment's consideration. The breach has moved, and we must find it again before it grows large enough for a full-scale incursion. For that, we need additional resources and information. What kind of resources? The kind found in Universe 7, Whis replied. Specifically, a brilliant mortal scientist who has been studying the boundaries between divine and mortal energies for decades. Goku raised an eyebrow. A mortal studying divine energy? That's allowed. Not typically, no, Whis admitted with a small smile. But Bulma Brief is exceptional. And I may have provided certain insights in exchange for her truly excellent food. Bulma Brief, Goku repeated, testing the unfamiliar name. And she can help track interdimensional breaches? If anyone in the mortal realm can, it's her, Whis confirmed. Besides, Universe 7 contains other resources that may prove valuable. including the last meaningful population of scions. Goku's interest peaked immediately. Scions? Like me? Indeed. Including one particularly prideful prince who might find your existence fascinating. A scion prince, Goku mused, unable to hide his excitement. Despite centuries as a divine guardian, he knew surprisingly little about his own species. The opportunity to meet other scions, to learn about his heritage directly, was unexpectedly appealing. It's settled then, Whis declared, tapping his staff twice. A new dimensional path opened before them, this one a swirling blue tunnel rather than the chaotic vortex they'd used previously. To Universe 7. Goku nodded, his initial disappointment at losing the breach now replaced by anticipation. Lead the way. They stepped into the dimensional tunnel, reality shifting around them once more. This transit felt smoother, more directed, clearly a well-established path that Whis had traveled many times. As they journeyed, Goku's mind raced with questions. What would Universe 7 be like? How would mortals react to a divine guardian walking among them? And these scions, what could they tell him about himself, about the heritage he'd never had a chance to explore? For all his centuries of existence, Goku suddenly felt like he was venturing into the unknown. And despite the gravity of their mission, he couldn't help but feel a spark of excitement at the prospect. They emerged above a small island on a blue planet, descending through fluffy white clouds toward a cluster of dome-shaped buildings. Earth, the jewel of Universe 7 and, according to Whis, home to both their mortal scientist and the remaining scions. Capsule Corporation, Whis explained as they approached the largest building, which bore a circular logo with the letters CC prominently displayed. The most advanced scientific facility on this planet. Goku took in the surroundings with interest. Having spent centuries in divine realms where everything was constructed of timeless materials and perfect geometries, the slightly chaotic, lived-in quality of mortal architecture fascinated him. It's so impermanent, he observed as they landed on a wide balcony. But there's something beautiful about that. Mortality has its own particular charm, Whis agreed. The briefness of their existence drives humans to remarkable creativity. Before they could continue their philosophical discussion, the balcony door slid open, and a woman with blue hair stepped out. She appeared to be in her 40s by human standards, dressed in a lab coat over casual clothes, with intelligent eyes that widened in surprise at their arrival. Whis. I wasn't expecting, she stopped mid-sentence, noticing Goku. Her expression shifted from surprise to intense curiosity. And who might this be? Dr. Brief, Whis greeted with a small bow. May I introduce Goku, guardian to the Omni King and protector of Zeno's palace. Bulma's jaw dropped. Guardian to the, she quickly collected herself, offering a slightly awkward bow. That's quite a title. I didn't realize Zeno had a personal guardian. Most don't, Goku replied with a friendly smile, immediately deciding he liked this human's direct manner. It's not exactly public knowledge. Well, I'm honored, Bulma said, then turned back to Whis with a raised eyebrow. Though I'm guessing this isn't a social call if you've brought someone of his status to my humble lab. Indeed not, Whis confirmed. We require your expertise on a matter of multiversal security. Bulma's eyes lit up with excitement. Well, why didn't you say so? Come in, come in. I just finished calibrating the quantum fluctuation monitor, perfect timing. She led them inside to a laboratory that put even some divine technology to shame. Holographic displays showed complex equations floating in three-dimensional space, while various machines hummed and pulsed with energy. A massive central computer dominated one wall, its screens displaying what looked like real-time readings of cosmic radiation. Impressive, Goku commented genuinely. You've managed to map quantum signatures across dimensional boundaries. Bulma shot him a surprised look. You understand quantum physics? Guardian training includes comprehensive knowledge of multiverse mechanics, Goku explained with a shrug. Though your approach is uniquely innovative. That's the nicest way anyone's ever called my methods unorthodox, Bulma laughed, then grew serious. So, multiversal security threat. That sounds ominous. Whis summarized their situation, the void essence breaches, the attacks on Zeno's palace, and their discovery in the null realm. As he spoke, Bulma's expression grew increasingly concerned, her fingers flying over holographic keyboards to pull up relevant data. Void essence, she repeated when Whis finished. I've detected anomalous energy readings that might match your description. Here, she projected a three-dimensional map of Universe 7, highlighting several points where unusual energy spikes had been recorded. These events started about 3 months ago. Initially, I thought they were just quantum hiccups, but they've been increasing in frequency and intensity. Goku studied the map intently. The pattern isn't random. They're testing different entry points, probably seeking the path of least resistance. My thoughts exactly, Bulma nodded. Whatever's causing these disturbances is intelligently directed. Can you track where the breach relocated to? Whis asked. Bulma bit her lip, considering. Maybe. If it's generating the same energy signature, my detection grid might pick it up. But I'd need a baseline sample to calibrate the sensors. Goku removed a small container from his belt. Inside was a tiny fragment of void essence he'd collected during their battle with the Void Walkers. Will this work? Bulma's eyes widened. You actually captured some. That's perfect. She carefully took the container, examining it through the transparent casing. I'll need to design a safe containment field before I can analyze it properly. I can assist with that, Whis offered. Divine containment principles should complement your technology. Perfect. Bulma declared, already moving to a workstation. This could take a few hours to set up properly. In the meantime. She glanced at Goku appraisingly. You're Saiyan, aren't you? I can tell by the hair. Goku ran a hand through his spiky black hair with a grin. That obvious? To someone who's married to the Prince of all Saiyans? Definitely. She tapped a communication device on her wrist. Speaking of which, Vegeta would probably want to meet you. He's training in the gravity chamber, as usual. Vegeta? The Saiyan prince you mentioned? Goku asked Whis, excitement evident in his voice. The very same, Whis confirmed. Though I should warn you, he can be somewhat intense. Bulma snorted. That's putting it mildly. But seriously, he should meet you. Another full-blooded Saiyan is rare enough, but one in your position. He'll be fascinated, after he gets over being suspicious and probably challenging you to a fight. A fight sounds great, actually, Goku said, stretching his arms above his head. Been a while since I had a good sparring match with someone who isn't a celestial guard or deity. Bulma and Whis exchanged knowing looks. I believe I'll stay and assist Dr. Brief with the containment system, Whis decided. Goku, why don't you go introduce yourself to Vegeta? The gravity chamber is in a separate building to the east. Goku nodded, genuine excitement bubbling up at the prospect of meeting another Saiyan warrior. I'll find it. As he headed for the door, Bulma called after him, fair warning, he might try to kill you when he finds out who you work for. Don't take it personally. Goku just laughed. After centuries of ceremonial duties and formal protocol, the directness of mortals was refreshingly welcome. The gravity chamber wasn't hard to find, Goku simply followed the massive energy signature pulsing from the east building. As he approached, he could feel the artificial gravity field even from outside, calibrated to many times Earth's normal pull. 400 times Earth gravity, Goku estimated, impressed despite himself. Not bad for a mortal training facility. The chamber itself was a reinforced dome with a control panel by the entrance. Through a small observation window, Goku could see a figure moving at incredible speed, performing complex fighting maneuvers against combat drones. The man's movements were precise, powerful, and displayed a fighting style Goku found oddly familiar, as if it resonated with something in his own muscle memory. Rather than interrupting immediately, Goku observed for several minutes, studying the Scion Prince's technique. There was pride in every movement, a fierce determination that spoke of centuries of discipline. But there was something else too, a burning drive, as if Vegeta was constantly pushing against some invisible ceiling. Finally, deciding he'd watched long enough, Goku pressed the communication button by the door. "Mind if I join you? Been a while since I had a decent workout." Inside the chamber, Vegeta stopped mid-punch, head whipping toward the observation window with obvious irritation. He stalked to the control panel and hit a button. His voice came through with electronic distortion. "This is a private facility. Not a public gym." "I know," Goku replied cheerfully. "But Bulma suggested I introduce myself. I'm Goku." There was a pause, then, "Bulma sent you?" Another pause. "Wait, Goku. What kind of Scion name is that?" Goku blinked in surprise. "How did you know I'm Scion? You can't even see me clearly through that window." The door hissed open, gravity normalizing in the chamber as Vegeta emerged. He was shorter than Goku had expected, but his presence was commanding, muscles defined by decades of training, eyes sharp with intelligence and pride. He wore simple training attire, blue bodysuit and white gloves and boots. Vegeta looked Goku up and down, taking in his divine guardian armor with a frown before focusing on his face and hair. "Your energy signature. It has Scion characteristics beneath whatever else you've layered on top of it. And that hair is unmistakable." Goku smiled, genuinely pleased. "Good instincts. You're right, I'm Scion by birth." "By birth?" Vegeta's eyes narrowed. "What are you now, then? And what's with the fancy armor? You don't dress like any Scion I've ever seen." "It's a long story," Goku replied. "Short version, I'm guardian to the Omni King. Have been for centuries." Vegeta's expression went through a rapid series of changes, disbelief, shock, suspicion, and finally settling on wary hostility. "Guardian to Zeno? You expect me to believe a Scion was chosen for divine service to the most powerful being in existence?" "Pretty much, yeah," Goku said with a shrug. "I don't know all the details myself, the Grand Priest isn't big on sharing information. But apparently I had the right soul resonance or something." Vegeta stared at him for a long moment, then barked a short laugh. "If you're making this up, it's too absurd to be a lie. And if it's true?" His eyes hardened. "Then what brings Zeno's personal attack dog to Earth?" "Hey, I'm no attack dog," Goku protested good-naturedly. "More like a babysitter with combat training. As for why I'm here, there's trouble brewing at the edges of the multiverse. The kind that might threaten everyone, including Zeno-sama." Vegeta's hostility shifted to caution mixed with curiosity. "Nothing should be able to threaten Zeno." "Yeah, that's what I thought too," Goku agreed. "But something's trying. Something from outside our multiverse structure." Vegeta considered this, arms crossed over his chest. "And what does that have to do with me or this planet?" "Bulma's helping track the threat," Goku explained. "And Whis mentioned you might have information about Scion history that could be useful. Apparently, there's some connection between Scions and divine energy that might relate to all this." "Whis talks too much," Vegeta muttered, then studied Goku more carefully. "You said your name is Goku?" "That's not a Scion name. It's what I've been called as long as I can remember," Goku replied with a shrug. "The Grand Priest mentioned once that I had another name at birth, but said it wasn't important anymore." Vegeta's eyes narrowed further. "When exactly were you taken for this guardian position?" "As an infant, from what I understand," Goku said. "I have no memories of my birth world or family." Something flashed across Vegeta's face, a spark of recognition quickly suppressed. "Interesting. Very interesting." He stepped back toward the gravity chamber entrance. "You want information about Scion history? Fine. But first, prove you're actually Scion and not some divine construct pretending to be one." "How do I do that?" Goku asked, though he already suspected the answer. Vegeta's lips curled into a challenging smirk. Fight me. Goku grinned back, excitement flooding his system. This was exactly what he'd been hoping for. Thought you'd never ask. Your gravity chamber or somewhere with more space? The chamber can handle it, Vegeta replied confidently. Unless you're afraid your divine status can't hold up under a little pressure. 400 times Earth gravity. Hardly even a warm-up, Goku retorted, following Vegeta inside. The door sealed behind them, and Vegeta moved to the control panel. Let's make it interesting then. 600. The chamber hummed as the gravity intensified. Goku felt the increased pull but adjusted almost instantly, his body automatically compensating through both divine training and Saiyan adaptability. Impressive, Vegeta acknowledged grudgingly when Goku showed no signs of strain. Most would be pinned to the floor. Same to you, Goku returned genuinely. Maintaining this level as a mortal is no small feat. Vegeta dropped into a fighting stance, pride evident in his posture. Let's see what Zeno's guardian is made of. No divine techniques, just Saiyan against Saiyan. Goku matched his stance, feeling an unexpected sense of rightness in the familiar posture. Fine by me. Though I should warn you, I haven't fought just as a Saiyan in centuries. Then you're overdue for a reminder of what you really are, Vegeta declared, and attacked. The prince moved with impressive speed, even under the intense gravity. His opening combination, a feint to the left followed by a right cross, was executed with perfect precision. Goku blocked the cross and countered with a sweep kick that Vegeta jumped over with practiced ease. They separated, circled, then engaged again. Each exchange grew more intense as they tested each other's defenses and reaction times. Goku found himself genuinely challenged to keep up without drawing on his divine energy. Vegeta's technique was flawless, honed through decades of dedicated training. Not bad for a palace guardian, Vegeta commented after a particularly intense exchange left them both breathing harder. But you're holding back. So are you, Goku countered with a grin. I can sense it. Vegeta's response was to suddenly flare with golden energy, his hair transforming from black to brilliant gold, eyes shifting to teal. The Super Saiyan transformation filled the chamber with pulsing power. That's more like it, Goku approved, allowing his own Saiyan energy to surge forward. Golden light enveloped him as he matched Vegeta's transformation, his divine energy temporarily suppressed to allow his native Saiyan power to manifest fully. Vegeta's eyes widened slightly. So you can still transform. Interesting. Let's see how rusty you really are. The battle escalated dramatically, their Super Saiyan energies clashing with thunderous impacts that tested the chamber's reinforced structure. Vegeta fought with technical perfection, each move flowing into the next with practiced efficiency. Goku countered with an adaptable style that incorporated elements of his divine training while maintaining the core Saiyan approach. As they fought, Goku felt something awakening within him, primal instincts and muscle memories he hadn't accessed in centuries. Fighting purely as a Saiyan again was like rediscovering a part of himself he'd kept carefully contained within his guardian identity. Minutes stretched into an hour, neither warrior gaining a decisive advantage. The gravity chamber's walls vibrated with the force of their clashing energies, automated repair systems working overtime to maintain structural integrity. Finally, after a particularly explosive exchange that left them at opposite ends of the chamber, Vegeta held up a hand. Enough. Both warriors powered down, their golden auras fading as they returned to base form. Vegeta was breathing hard but looked more intrigued than exhausted. Your technique is strange, a mix of Saiyan instinct and something else. But your power is genuine. He studied Goku with new respect. You fight like a Saiyan who never learned formal Saiyan combat principles, yet somehow knows them anyway. Goku rolled his shoulders, feeling pleasantly sore from the workout. Muscle memory, maybe. The Grand Priest mentioned that some things are encoded at a soul level, beyond conscious knowledge. Perhaps, Vegeta acknowledged. Or perhaps you're connecting to something all Scions share, a racial battle instinct passed down through our bloodline. You promised information about Scion history, Goku reminded him, leaning against the chamber wall. Specifically, any connection to divine energy or powers. Vegeta considered for a moment, then nodded toward the door. Not here. Some things shouldn't be discussed under Bulma's surveillance systems. They exited the gravity chamber, the normal Earth gravity feeling almost weightless after their training session. Vegeta led the way across the Capsule Corp compound to a small garden area, isolated from the main buildings and shielded by dense foliage. This is one of the few places on the property without monitoring, Vegeta explained, sitting cross-legged on a stone bench. Bulma respects my need for privacy, but her scientific curiosity sometimes overrides her better judgment. Goku sat opposite him, intrigued by this cautious approach. What you're about to tell me is that sensitive? It's knowledge few living beings possess, Vegeta replied solemnly. Information passed down only through the Scion royal bloodline. He took a deep breath, his usual aggressive demeanor softening into something more contemplative. The official history states that Scions evolved naturally on planet Vegeta, developing our battle prowess through constant warfare and natural selection. That's only partially true. Our real origins go back much further, to a time before the current multiverse structure. According to royal records, Scions were created, not evolved. Goku leaned forward, instinctively sensing the importance of what he was hearing. Created by whom? The records aren't clear on names or specific entities, Vegeta admitted. They refer only to those who shaped reality and the dividers of chaos. But the purpose is described explicitly. Scions were designed as living weapons in a conflict between godlike beings. That actually makes sense, Goku said slowly, pieces clicking together in his mind. It would explain our innate battle instincts, our ability to grow stronger after each fight, our transformations. Exactly, Vegeta nodded. We weren't just warriors, we were cosmic soldiers engineered for a war between entities beyond our comprehension. What happened to these entities? Goku asked. According to the records, there was a final battle, a confrontation that reshaped existence itself. Most of the godlike beings were destroyed or sealed away. The survivors established a new cosmic order, what eventually became the 12 universes under Zeno's authority. And the Scions? Forgotten weapons from a forgotten war, Vegeta said with a hint of bitterness. Scattered across the forming universes, left to find our own path. Most lost all knowledge of their true origins, developing into warrior societies shaped by whatever world they landed on. Only the royal bloodline of Universe 7 maintained records of the truth. Goku processed this information, comparing it with what little the Grand Priest had shared about the primordials and the previous cosmic cycle. The pieces aligned too perfectly to be coincidence. There's more, Vegeta continued after a moment. The royal records contain a prophecy, one that speaks of a Scion who would one day stand at the center of creation, neither fully mortal nor fully divine. A warrior whose existence would bridge worlds and whose choices would determine the fate of all realities. He fixed Goku with an intense stare. Sound familiar? Goku shifted uncomfortably. The Grand Priest mentioned something similar, about my soul resonance, with Zeno being unique. But prophecies are vague by nature. Could apply to anyone. A Scion serving as guardian to the Omni King himself? Vegeta challenged. That's hardly anyone. Before Goku could respond, a familiar energy signature approached, Whis, moving with unusual haste. It seems our angel friend has news, Vegeta observed, standing from the bench. Whis appeared at the garden entrance, his normally composed expression showing subtle signs of concern. Ah, there you are. I see Prince Vegeta has been sharing historical insights. Just getting to the good part, Vegeta replied dryly. I'm afraid further history lessons will have to wait, Whis said, turning to Goku. Dr. Brief has made a breakthrough with the void essence tracking. We've located the relocated breach, and it's concerning. Where is it? Goku asked, immediately alert. The sacred world of the Kais, Universe 7, Whis replied grimly. The breach is forming directly above their divine realm. Vegeta's expression darkened. That's impossible. The Kai realm is second only to Zeno's palace in divine protection. Which makes it the perfect target for entities seeking to demonstrate their power, Whis pointed out. If they can breach those defenses, they can breach any realm in the multiverse, Goku finished. We need to move now. Bulma has prepared specialized tracking devices calibrated to void essence, Whis explained as they hurried back toward the main building. They should allow us to monitor the breach even if it relocates again. Goku nodded, mind already shifting to tactical planning. Good. And we should contact Universe 7's God of Destruction. Already done, Whis interrupted. Lord Beerus is less than pleased about the situation. When is he ever pleased about anything? Vegeta muttered. They entered Bulma's lab to find her surrounded by holographic displays showing real-time data of the breach. The blue-haired scientist looked up as they entered, expression a mix of scientific fascination and genuine concern. Oh good, you found them, she said to Whis. The breach is growing faster than the previous one, almost twice the expansion rate. Whatever's controlling it is getting better at manipulating our dimensional barriers. Or they're just not bothering to be subtle anymore, Goku suggested grimly, studying the displays. How long until full manifestation? At current rates? 5 hours, maybe less, Bulma replied, handing him a small device that resembled a wristwatch. This is the tracker I promised. It's synchronized to the specific frequency of the void essence you provided. Should work across dimensional boundaries too. Impressive work, especially on such short notice, Goku said sincerely, securing the device to his wrist. That's why they pay me the big bucks, Bulma replied with a wink, though her humor couldn't quite mask her concern. So what's the plan? You heading straight to the Kai realm? Yes, but not alone, Goku decided, looking at Vegeta. I could use another scion on this mission. Especially one who might understand our enemy better than I do. Vegeta crossed his arms. Are you asking for my help, Guardian? I'm suggesting a mutually beneficial arrangement, Goku replied diplomatically. You get to fight enemies from beyond existence itself, possibly discover more about scion origins, and help save your universe in the process. I get a skilled warrior who knows this universe better than I do. When you put it that way. Vegeta smirked. I suppose I can't let the multiverse be destroyed before I've finished my training regimen. How pragmatic of you, Bulma commented dryly. Whis tapped his staff on the floor. I can transport you both to the sacred world of the Kais. Lord Beerus will meet us there, assuming he's awake by now. I'm coming too, Bulma declared, grabbing a case of equipment. Someone needs to operate these sensors properly, and I doubt any of you muscleheads can distinguish a quantum variance field from a dimensional resonance cascade. Vegeta opened his mouth to protest, but Bulma silenced him with a look. Don't start, Vegeta. You know I'm right. Fine, he grumbled. But you stay back from any actual fighting. Oh please, she rolled her eyes. Like I'd jump into a battle between divine beings and void monsters. Give me some credit for basic self-preservation. Goku watched their interaction with amusement and a twinge of something else, a kind of wistfulness for a type of connection he'd never experienced himself. His entire existence had been defined by duty and service, with little room for the kind of relationship these two clearly shared despite their bickering. If we're all decided, Whis interjected smoothly, we should depart immediately. The Kais are already implementing emergency protocols, but they're ill-equipped to handle this type of threat. Goku nodded, refocusing on the mission. Let's go. The sacred world of the Kais, normally a peaceful paradise of rolling hills and tranquil lakes, was in chaos when they arrived. The sky above the central temple had split open, a massive breach pulsing with void essence that cast an eerie negative light across the landscape. Divine barriers flickered around the perimeter, maintained by the Supreme Kai and his attendants, but visibly weakening under the strain. Whis set them down on a hillside overlooking the temple complex. Immediately, Bulma began unpacking her equipment, setting up sensors to monitor the breach. "This is much worse than I anticipated," Whis observed, his usual light-hearted demeanor entirely absent. Goku stared at the breach, noting its more defined structure compared to the one they'd encountered in the Null Realm. "They're not just tearing through anymore, they're crafting a permanent gateway." "Who's they?" came a grumpy voice from behind them. "And why are they interrupting my nap?" Beerus, god of destruction of Universe 7, approached with his characteristic slouch, ears twitching with irritation. His eyes widened slightly upon seeing Goku. Well. Zeno's watchdog in the flesh. Things must be serious indeed. "Lord Beerus," Goku acknowledged with a respectful nod. "Wish we were meeting under better circumstances." "Humph, circumstances are never good when you divine types start crossing jurisdictional boundaries," Beerus replied, turning his attention to the breach. "So, void essence incursion from primordial entities beyond the multiverse." Whis filled me in on the basics. "What's the plan?" Before Goku could answer, movement at the temple caught their attention. The Supreme Kai was approaching, accompanied by his attendant Kibito. Both looked strained from the effort of maintaining barriers. "Lord Beerus," the Supreme Kai called out, relief evident in his voice. "And, wait, is that Zeno's guardian?" "Yes," Beerus interrupted impatiently. "Explanations later. What's the situation inside the temple?" "We've evacuated most attendants to the lower realms," the Supreme Kai reported. "The sacred artifacts have been secured in the dimensional vault. But the breach continues to grow despite our strongest sealing techniques." Goku stepped forward. "Has anything come through yet?" "Only energy tendrils so far," Kibito answered. "They seem to be testing the environment. Adapting to our realm's parameters." A sudden pulse from the breach sent ripples of disruptive energy across the landscape. The divine barriers around the temple flickered dangerously. "We're out of time for planning," Goku decided. "Bulma, monitor the breach from here. Vegeta, Beerus, Whis, we need to establish a containment perimeter around that temple. Supreme Kai, pull your remaining people back and reinforce the lower realm barriers in case we fail." "Rather presumptuous, giving orders in my universe," Beerus commented, though without real hostility. "Would you prefer to take charge?" Goku asked directly. Beerus yawned dramatically. "Too much effort. Your plan sounds adequate. Just don't expect me to follow orders without question." "Wouldn't dream of it," Goku replied with a quick smile, then turned serious again. "Let's move." They positioned themselves strategically around the temple, Goku and Vegeta taking the front approach, with Beerus and Whis covering the sides. The Supreme Kai withdrew as instructed, though clearly reluctant to abandon his sacred duty. Just as they settled into position, the breach pulsed one final time, and tore wide open. Unlike the shadowy tendrils or void walkers they'd faced before, what emerged was far more substantial. A figure floated through the gateway, humanoid in basic shape but composed of swirling energies that seemed to both absorb and emit light simultaneously. Its skin was a shifting pattern of stars and void, as if it contained an entire universe within itself. Where a face should be, only a mask-like oval of pure white energy gleamed, with those same penetrating eyes Goku had seen twice before. "Guardian," the figure spoke, its voice resonating at multiple frequencies simultaneously. "At last, we meet properly." Goku stepped forward, golden guardian energy flowing around his hands. "You know who I am. Mind returning the favor?" The figure inclined its head in what might have been amusement. "I have been called many names across many cycles of existence. But you may call me the Void Sovereign, last of the primordials and rightful architect of reality." "Primordials," Beerus hissed from his position. "I thought they were just myths." "Many myths contain truth at their core, Destroyer," the Void Sovereign replied, turning its gaze briefly toward Beerus. Just as your existence contains purpose, though you've forgotten what it truly is. Vegeta stepped up beside Goku, energy already flaring around him. Enough talk. Why are you invading this realm? Invasion implies conquest, the Void Sovereign corrected. I seek restoration. The multiverse you know is a flawed construction, a pale imitation of what existence should be. The being you call Zeno is a usurper who established order where there should be creative chaos. Creative chaos sounds like a fancy term for destruction, Goku countered. And as Zeno's guardian, I can't let you proceed with whatever restoration you're planning. The Void Sovereign studied Goku with those penetrating eyes. You defend him out of duty, not understanding. Tell me, Guardian, has Zeno ever explained why you specifically were chosen? Why a Scion infant was elevated to divine service when no mortal-born being had ever held such a position before? Goku tensed. I'm sure he had his reasons. Indeed he did, the Sovereign agreed. The same reason the Scion race was created in the first place, as weapons in a cosmic war. But you, Guardian, you were created for something far more specific. Vegeta shot Goku a look but remained silent, allowing the exchange to continue. I don't much care what I was created for, Goku replied firmly. What matters is what I choose to do now. And right now, I'm choosing to send you back through that breach. The Void Sovereign's energy flared, not aggressively, but with a strange resonance that seemed to call to something deep within Goku's being. Your soul recognizes the truth, even if your mind rejects it. You are the counterbalance, the fail-safe mechanism should Zeno ever abuse his position. The only entity capable of challenging the Omni King. That's absurd, Whis interjected, staff raised defensively. No being can challenge Zeno's authority. Yet here I stand, the Sovereign responded. And here stands his guardian, carrying within him the potential to do what none other can. It refocused on Goku. Why do you think your soul resonance matched Zeno's perfectly? Because you were designed as his equal and opposite, creation to his destruction, compassion to his caprice, wisdom to his childish whims. Goku shook his head, pushing aside the doubts the Sovereign's words stirred. If you're trying to recruit me, you're wasting your time. I know my duty. Duty, the Sovereign repeated. Such a limited concept. I offer understanding, of yourself, your origins, your true purpose. Enough of this, Beerus growled, destruction energy gathering around his hand. Whatever you're selling, we're not buying. The Sovereign turned toward Beerus, and suddenly the god of destruction froze in place, purple energy dissipating. Peace, destroyer. Your role in this drama comes later. With a casual gesture, the Sovereign created a bubble of displaced time around Beerus, who remained conscious but unable to move or affect his surroundings. Beerus! Whis called out, immediately moving to dispel the effect, but finding himself similarly ensnared. The angels too have forgotten their original purpose, the Sovereign commented, almost sadly. Reduced to attendants and observers when once they were architects of worlds. Vegeta launched forward without warning, transforming directly into Super Saiyan Blue, his most powerful form. Enough talking. His fist connected with the Sovereign's chest, or should have. Instead, it passed through as if the entity were made of smoke, though its form remained visually solid. Brave Prince, the Sovereign acknowledged, unaffected by the attack. Your bloodline has always been direct in its approach. A flick of the Sovereign's wrist sent Vegeta flying backward, crashing through one of the temple's outer walls with devastating force. Vegeta! Goku shouted, immediately shifting into a battle stance. Golden Guardian energy erupted around him, enhanced by his own Scion power in a brilliant display of divine might. Now we come to it, the Sovereign said, something like satisfaction in its multi-toned voice. Show me the power that made you worthy of guarding existence itself. Goku didn't waste words on a reply. He attacked with everything he had, combining Guardian techniques with Scion combat instincts in a seamless fusion of styles. His fists trailed golden energy as he launched a barrage of strikes, each targeted at what should have been vital points in a normal entity's form. Unlike Vegeta's attack, Goku's made contact, his guardian energy allowing him to affect the Sovereign's quasi-physical form. Each impact created ripples in the Sovereign's star-void skin, momentarily disrupting its coherence. Yes, the Sovereign encouraged, making no move to counterattack. You begin to understand. Only you have the necessary composition to interact with me directly. Goku pressed his advantage, accelerating his assault. With each successful strike, he learned more about the Sovereign's structure, adapting his techniques to maximize effectiveness. Solar Guardian Pulse. Golden energy exploded from Goku's palm, striking the Sovereign's core with concentrated force. For the first time, the entity showed signs of genuine disruption. Its form wavered, the starfield within its skin momentarily destabilizing into chaotic patterns. Impressive, the Sovereign acknowledged, finally raising a hand in defense. But ultimately misguided. Reality seemed to bend around the Sovereign's gesture. Suddenly, Goku found himself fighting not one opponent but reflections of himself. Every version of Goku that might have existed had his life taken different turns. A savage scion warrior who never knew restraint. A cold, calculating divine enforcer. A broken soul corrupted by loneliness and power. These are all potential versions of you, the Sovereign explained as Goku struggled against opponents who knew his every move before he made it. Paths you might have walked. Some still exist in collapsed timelines, echoes of possibilities Zeno erased when they displeased him. Goku fought through the confusion, centering himself in his true identity. I don't care about might-have-beens. I care about what's happening now. With a massive surge of energy, he dispelled the reflections, forcing reality back to singular coherence. The effort left him breathing hard, but more focused than before. What exactly do you want? Goku demanded, maintaining his battle stance. You're not fighting at full capacity. This is some kind of test. Perceptive, the Sovereign approved. Yes, this encounter is merely preliminary. An assessment of your current capabilities and understanding. Why me? Why not attack Zeno directly if he's your true target? Because Zeno cannot be challenged directly, not by me, not by anyone. The Sovereign's gaze intensified. Except you. The counterbalance. The only entity within the multiverse structure with the potential to check Zeno's power. From the rubble where he'd landed, Vegeta emerged, bloodied but unbowed. Don't listen to him, Goku. Divine entities are masters of manipulation. Indeed, the Sovereign agreed unexpectedly. Which is why I offer not words alone, but a demonstration. With that, the Sovereign raised both arms, and the breach above the temple expanded dramatically. Through it came not void walkers or energy tendrils, but a stream of information, raw knowledge that materialized as glowing symbols raining down around them. Where the symbols touched the ground, they created windows into other times and places, scions in their original form, serving as warriors for beings of light and darkness. Zeno, younger and somehow more focused, engaged in conflict with entities of similar power. The Grand Priest, leading a rebellion against oppressive cosmic forces. And Goku himself, not as he was now, but as he might have been had he grown up on Earth rather than in Zeno's palace. A simpler warrior, driven by the joy of combat and the protection of loved ones. Alternate realities, Goku murmured, fascinated despite himself. Different timelines. Truth, the Sovereign corrected. History as it was before Zeno rewrote it to suit his preferences. Before he simplified existence into 12 manageable universes under his sole authority. Goku tore his gaze away from the compelling visions. Even if what you're showing is true, it doesn't justify disrupting the current multiverse. Billions of innocent lives exist within this structure. And trillions were erased when it was established, the Sovereign countered. Balance must be restored, not through destruction, but through reintegration. The multiverse can be expanded, improved, made whole again. With you in charge instead of Zeno, Goku challenged. With no single entity in absolute control, the sovereign replied. As it was in the beginning, creative chaos, yes, but also infinite possibility. Before Goku could respond, a new voice joined the conversation, Bulma, calling through a communication device at his wrist. Goku. The breach is becoming unstable. Whatever you're going to do, do it fast, this whole dimensional pocket is about to collapse. The Void Sovereign looked upward, seemingly unconcerned. Our time grows short for now. Consider what you've learned here, Guardian. When next we meet, you must choose, to remain a protector of a flawed system, or to become a catalyst for cosmic renewal. I didn't agree to any choice, Goku replied firmly. And I won't let you endanger this multiverse. Your dedication is admirable, if misplaced. The sovereign began to fade, its form becoming transparent. But know this, Zeno's palace has already been compromised. While you sought me here, my agents have been at work there. The game is further along than you realize. Alarm surged through Goku. What have you done? Nothing irreversible, yet, the sovereign answered enigmatically. Return to your charge, Guardian. See for yourself what lies beneath the surface of paradise. With those words, the Void Sovereign vanished completely, drawn back through the breach, which immediately began to contract. No. Goku lunged forward, attempting to follow, but Whis, now free from the time displacement, caught his arm. The breach is collapsing. We must withdraw immediately. Reality around them began to fracture as the dimensional pocket destabilized. The Supreme Kai's realm itself was beginning to fold inward, sacred ground crumbling into nothingness. Vegeta. Bulma. Goku called out, scanning for his companions. Here. Vegeta appeared with Bulma in his arms, having rescued her from the collapsing hillside. We need to leave now. Whis raised his staff, creating a transportation sphere around their group. Hold tight. This will be turbulent. The last thing Goku saw as they departed was the sacred world of the Kais, home to Universe 7's divine creator, imploding into a singularity before vanishing entirely from existence. They emerged in Earth's upper atmosphere, Whis' transportation sphere flickering dangerously before stabilizing. Below them, the planet continued its peaceful rotation, unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding above. The entire sacred realm, gone, the Supreme Kai whispered, his face ashen with shock. Kibito supported him as he swayed on his feet. Not destroyed, Whis corrected, studying the readings on his staff. Displaced. Shifted out of its proper dimensional alignment. With effort, it could be restored. Small comfort when my home has vanished, the Supreme Kai replied bitterly. Beerus, finally free of the time displacement, looked uncharacteristically serious. This goes beyond universal threats. If a primordial can neutralize both me and Whis without effort, then displace an entire divine realm. He left the implications hanging. And what was that about Zeno's palace being compromised? Bulma asked, still clutching her sensor equipment. Can that entity actually threaten the Omni King? Goku's expression darkened. I don't know. But I need to return immediately. What about what he said about you? Vegeta demanded. About being a counterbalance to Zeno. Created specifically to check his power. It doesn't matter what I was supposedly created for, Goku replied firmly. What matters is what I choose to do now. And what exactly is that? Vegeta pressed. Goku met his gaze directly. Protect Zeno-sama. Protect the multiverse structure. Stop the Void Sovereign before more realms are affected. Even if what he showed us is true. Vegeta challenged. Even if Zeno rewrote history and erased trillions of lives to establish his version of order. I don't know if it's true, Goku admitted. But destroying the current system won't bring back whatever came before. It will just cause more suffering. Whis interjected gently. A wise perspective. And practically speaking, we must first confirm the situation at Zeno's palace before making any further decisions. Goku turned to the angel. I need to return immediately. Can you create a path directly to the palace? I can open a connection to the Divine Transit Network, Whis confirmed. Though I cannot accompany you, my responsibilities are bound to Universe 7 and Lord Beerus. I understand, Goku nodded, then turned to Vegeta. Thank you for your help. And for sharing what you knew about Saiyan history. It meant more than you realize. Vegeta crossed his arms, studying Goku intently. You're going back to serve a being who might have been lying to you for centuries. Why? Because right now, Zeno represents order and stability for trillions of beings across 12 universes, Goku answered honestly. Whatever the truth about the past, the present is what I can affect. Humph, pragmatic for someone in divine service, Vegeta observed. You're more Saiyan than you realize. He extended his hand, a warrior's gesture of respect. Don't die, Goku. We have unfinished business. Goku clasped his arm with a smile. Count on it. Bulma stepped forward, pressing a small device into Goku's hand. An improved tracker. It'll help you detect void essence incursions before they fully manifest. And she hesitated, then continued, if what that entity said about you is true, about being a counterbalance, be careful. Powers like that often come with prices attached. I will, Goku promised, tucking the device into his belt. Beerus approached last, ears twitching with what might have been concern. Tell the Grand Priest what happened here. All of it. If the primordials are returning, even Zeno may need to reconsider certain policies. I'll deliver the message, Goku assured him. Whis raised his staff, creating a shimmering portal different from his usual transportation method. This will connect directly to the Divine Transit Network. From there, you should be able to return to Zeno's palace through the established pathways. Goku nodded gratefully, then faced his new allies one last time. If I need help again, we'll be here, Bulma finished for him. Earth seems to be the cosmic crossroads for universe-threatening events anyway. With a final nod of thanks, Goku stepped through the portal, divine energy swirling around him as he entered the transit network. The dimensional pathways stretched before him, a complex web of connections between all realms within the multiverse structure. At its center, brightest of all, lay the path to Zeno's palace. Goku moved with purpose, his guardian instinct screaming that something was wrong. The Void Sovereign's warning echoed in his mind, Zeno's palace has already been compromised. As he approached the palace connection, he noticed subtle distortions in the surrounding pathways, almost invisible unless you knew exactly what to look for. Signs of tampering, of external influence bending the divine architecture in ways it was never meant to bend. Clever, Goku muttered, examining the alterations without touching them. They didn't break in, they bent the paths themselves. With careful precision, Goku navigated around the compromised sections, using his guardian status to open a direct, secure connection to the palace. As he stepped through the final threshold, he braced himself for whatever might await on the other side. The grand hall of Zeno's palace appeared normal at first glance, the usual divine guards at their posts, the eternal light of creation shining through crystal windows. But Goku's senses, honed through centuries of guardian service, detected subtle wrongness permeating the air. A celestial guard approached, bowing respectfully. Guardian Goku. The Grand Priest requests your presence in the creation chamber immediately. Goku nodded, but his instincts remained alert. The guard's movements were precise, too precise, lacking the subtle variations that marked individual consciousness. How is Zeno-sama? Goku asked casually as they walked. The Omni King is well, the guard replied without inflection. He has been entertaining himself with creation exercises in your absence. Another warning sign, the guard should have used Zeno's proper title, not the Omni King. It was a formality never overlooked by palace attendants. Goku maintained his outward calm while preparing himself mentally for conflict. If the palace truly had been compromised, he needed to assess the full situation before acting. They approached the creation chamber, its massive doors sealed with divine energy that recognized only authorized entities. Goku placed his palm against the verification panel, his guardian signature automatically granted access. The doors swung open to reveal the creation chamber in apparent normal operation, swirling energies of genesis and dissolution dancing across its spherical interior. In the center floated Zeno, back turned to the entrance, seemingly absorbed in creating tiny galaxies. The Grand Priest stood nearby, watching with his usual serene expression. "Ah, Guardian Goku," the Grand Priest acknowledged his arrival. "Your mission was successful." "Partially," Goku replied cautiously, scanning the room for anomalies. "We located the breach, but encountered complications. Something was wrong with the energy flow in the chamber, subtle distortions in the creation patterns that wouldn't be noticeable to anyone without Guardian training." And Zeno still hadn't turned around, despite normally reacting with childish excitement whenever Goku returned from any absence. "Zeno-sama," Goku called out gently. "I've returned." Slowly, Zeno turned. His form appeared normal, the same childlike body, the same colorful aura. But his eyes were empty, flat, lacking their usual curious sparkle. "Welcome back, Guardian," Zeno replied, voice toneless. Not Goku. Not excited chatter about missing him or demands for stories about his adventure. Just Guardian. With mechanical formality. Goku's gaze darted to the Grand Priest, whose expression revealed nothing. Was he also compromised, or aware of the situation and playing along? "Thank you, Zeno-sama," Goku replied, maintaining the charade while subtly shifting into a better position, one that would allow him to move quickly if needed. "I encountered something interesting during my mission. A being calling itself the Void Sovereign." At the name, Zeno's blank expression flickered momentarily, a ripple of something crossing his features. "The Void Sovereign is a myth," the Grand Priest stated flatly. "A story to frighten young deities." "Funny," Goku countered, "I found him very real. And very interested in the palace. Said it had already been compromised." The Grand Priest's expression didn't change, but the energy around him shifted subtly, preparing for conflict. "Perhaps the entity was attempting to sow distrust between you and your charge. A common tactic among chaos beings." "Perhaps," Goku agreed, casually moving closer to Zeno. "Or perhaps it was telling the truth. Hard to know what to believe these days." He was now within arm's reach of Zeno, close enough to detect what his distant senses had missed, a faint aura of void essence surrounding the Omni King, almost perfectly concealed beneath his natural divine energy. "Zeno-sama," Goku said softly, "do you remember what you gave me before I left? The special gift for my mission?" The false Zeno hesitated, just for a fraction of a second. "A token of my power." "What kind of token?" Goku pressed. Another hesitation. "Divine energy." "Wrong," Goku said, guardian energy flaring around his hands. It was an orb of creation essence, something only Zeno would know about. In an instant, the pretense shattered. The false Zeno's form rippled, void essence bleeding through its divine disguise. The Grand Priest's image similarly distorted, revealing a high-ranking Void Walker maintaining an elaborate illusion. "Where is Zeno-sama?" Goku demanded, golden energy now fully enveloping his body. "Where is the real Grand Priest?" The false Zeno spoke, but no longer with a child's voice. Instead, it was a hollow echo of multiple tones layered together. Contained. Separated. But unharmed, for now. The sovereign required time, the false Grand Priest added, its form fully revealing itself as a Void Commander, a more evolved, intelligent version of the basic Void Walkers. Time to establish the necessary connections throughout the multiverse. "You were the unknown variable, Guardian. The only one who might have detected our operation prematurely. So you manipulated me into leaving," Goku realized, fury building within him. The attacks, the breaches, all to draw me away from the palace. Your predictable sense of duty made it simple, the Void Commander confirmed. Though your direct confrontation with the Sovereign was unplanned. Goku didn't waste more time on words. With blinding speed, he launched at the false Zeno, Guardian energy concentrated into a spear-like formation. Solar Guardian Lance. The Void entity attempted to dodge, but Goku's attack was too precise, too powerful. The golden energy pierced through its chest, disrupting the Void essence at its core. The creature let out an unearthly wail as its form destabilized, collapsing into particles of negative energy. The Void Commander moved instantly, abandoning its Grand Priest disguise to reveal its true form, a towering humanoid composed of concentrated Void essence, with armor-like protrusions and multiple limbs ending in razor-sharp appendages. You've improved since our last encounter, Guardian, it observed, circling Goku warily. But you're too late. The process is already underway. What process? Goku demanded, maintaining a defensive stance between the creature and where the false Zeno had fallen. The Great Reconnection, the commander replied. The restoration of what was sundered. The return of creative chaos to a sterile multiverse. A massive tendril of void essence erupted from the floor, catching Goku off guard. It wrapped around his torso, cold energy immediately beginning to drain his divine power. Your role in this drama is not yet complete, Guardian, the commander continued as Goku struggled against the draining tendril. The Sovereign has plans for you, plans befitting your true nature. I make my own plans, Goku growled, his energy flaring brighter as he pushed back against the void essence. With a roar of effort, he shattered the tendril, fragments of negative energy dissolving around him. The Void Commander attacked directly, its multiple limbs striking from different angles simultaneously. Goku dodged and blocked with practiced precision, looking for openings in the creature's defense while gathering information. Where is Zeno-sama? He demanded again, landing a powerful kick that sent the commander skidding backward. Where have you taken him? Somewhere even you cannot reach, the commander replied. A space between spaces, where reality itself is malleable. Goku's eyes narrowed. The null void, the original breach location. You've taken him there. The commander's momentary surprise confirmed his guess. Goku pressed his advantage, launching a series of devastating combinations that forced the void entity into a defensive position. Guardian Binding Technique. Golden energy shot from Goku's hands in rope-like formations, wrapping around the commander's limbs and torso, restricting its movement and disrupting its void essence cohesion. Now, Goku said, tightening the bindings until the creature visibly strained against them, you're going to tell me exactly how to reach this space between spaces, or I'm going to disrupt your essence so thoroughly you'll spend the next 1,000 years trying to reform. The commander struggled against the bindings but found them unbreakable. After a moment of resistance, it stilled. The knowledge would destroy your mind, Guardian. Only those attuned to void essence can navigate the pathways. Then attune me, Goku countered. You've been manipulating divine energy pathways, I felt the alterations in the transit network. You can create a connection I can follow. And why would I do that, the commander asked. Goku tightened the bindings further, causing the creature to writhe in pain. Because your options are limited, and I think you value your continued existence. The commander was silent for a long moment, seemingly communing with something beyond Goku's perception. Finally, it spoke again. The Sovereign anticipated this possibility. He says, you are welcome to try. The attunement is within the creation sphere. Goku glanced toward the center of the chamber, where the swirling energies of creation had now taken on a darker, more ominous pattern. At the heart of the sphere, a small object pulsed with dual energies, half divine light, half void essence. A trap, obviously, Goku commented. Obviously, the commander agreed. Yet also the only path to what you seek. Goku studied the sphere, noting how the void essence and divine energy intertwined in a pattern eerily similar to what the Void Sovereign had described, creative chaos, but with structure. Destruction and creation in balance. If I take this attunement, what happens to me? He asked directly. You become what you were always meant to be, the commander replied cryptically. Neither fully divine nor fully mortal, but something in between, able to walk both paths. The words echoed the Saiyan prophecy Vegeta had shared, about a warrior who would stand at the center of creation, bridging worlds. And the sovereign's claim about Goku being a counterbalance to Zeno. And if I refuse? Then Zeno remains where he is, beyond your reach, while the sovereign completes his work, the commander stated simply. The multiverse will be transformed regardless. The only variable is your role in what comes after. Goku maintained the binding technique while considering his options. The attunement was almost certainly dangerous, possibly even fatal. But if Zeno truly had been taken to some realm beyond normal access, what choice did he have? His duty was to protect the Omni King. Everything else was secondary. If I do this, Goku said finally, I want your word that no harm will come to Zeno-sama before I reach him. The commander's form rippled in what might have been amusement. You seek honor from Void Essence. But very well, the sovereign has given instructions that the Omni King remain unharmed until the final phase. You have time, Guardian, though perhaps not as much as you might wish. Goku made his decision. Maintaining the bindings on the commander with one hand, he reached toward the creation sphere with the other. As his fingers approached the pulsing attunement object, both divine and void energies reacted, stretching toward him like living things seeking connection. Last chance to tell me what this really does, Goku said, pausing just short of contact. It opens your perception, the commander replied. To what was, what is, and what might be. To the truth behind the simplified reality you've sworn to protect. And the cost? Certainty. Comfort. The luxury of serving without questioning. Goku took a deep breath. For Zeno-sama, then. His fingers closed around the attunement object. Immediately, dual energies surged up his arm, burning cold and freezing heat simultaneously. Goku gritted his teeth against the pain as the energies spread throughout his body, restructuring his very essence on a fundamental level. His guardian energy flared in automatic defense, then began to transform, golden light shifting to include threads of deepest blue, not void essence, but something new, something balanced between creation and dissolution. Images flooded his mind, fragments of memories that weren't his own. Or were they? A life on Earth. Battles against impossible odds. Friends, family, a simple joy in existence that he'd never known in divine service. Alongside these, other visions, cosmic conflicts between godlike beings, the birth and death of entire reality systems, and always the cyclical pattern of creation, preservation, destruction, and renewal. He saw Zeno, not as the childlike deity he served, but as something far more complex, more ancient. One of many similar beings who had once existed in creative tension, maintaining cosmic balance through their opposing forces. Then conflict, catastrophic and all-consuming, leaving only Zeno to reshape what remained into the current multiverse structure. And he saw himself, or versions of himself, across countless timelines and possibilities. Always a warrior, always drawn to protect, but in this unique timeline, elevated to divine service for a very specific purpose. The counterbalance. The fail-safe. The only being with the potential to challenge Zeno should cosmic balance require it. The visions faded as suddenly as they had begun, leaving Goku gasping for breath, on his knees in the creation chamber. The attunement object had dissolved, its energies now fully integrated with his own. The binding technique had failed during his incapacitation, and the Void Commander was gone, but it hardly mattered now. Goku had what he needed. He could see it, the pathway to the space between spaces. Not with his physical eyes, but with something deeper, something the attunement had awakened. A sense of connection to all realities, including those beyond the established multiverse structure. Goku rose to his feet, his guardian armor now subtly altered, the gold and white patterns interwoven with threads of cosmic blue, symbolizing his new dual nature. He was still Zeno's guardian, still committed to his duty, but now he understood that duty in a broader context. Protect Zeno, yes, but also protect the greater cosmic balance. Even if that meant questioning the very system he served. "I'm coming, Zeno-sama," Goku said, focusing on the newly perceived pathway. "And then we're going to have a long overdue conversation about truth." With new purpose and expanded awareness, Goku stepped onto the path between realities, heading toward a confrontation that would determine not just Zeno's fate, but the future of the entire multiverse. Chapter 3, Beyond the Divine Veil. Traveling through the pathway between realities felt nothing like conventional divine transit. Goku floated through a space that couldn't properly be called space, a realm of pure potential where concepts like direction or distance meant nothing. His newly awakened senses guided him forward, perceiving connections invisible to normal consciousness. The attunement had changed him. He could feel it in every fiber of his being, divine guardian energy now perfectly balanced with something deeper, more primordial. Not void essence exactly, but the creative potential from which all existence emerged. The power of beginnings. What a rush, Goku muttered to himself, watching cosmic strings of reality bend around his passage. No wonder Zeno never mentioned this place. His consciousness stretched across multiple planes simultaneously, perceiving fragments of countless realities as he passed. Here, a universe where planets orbited stars made of pure thought. There, a dimension where time ran backward and beings uniged toward birth. The sheer diversity of cosmic expression was overwhelming. A familiar presence brushed against his awareness, subtle, almost tentative. "I know you're watching," Goku called out, continuing forward. "Might as well show yourself." The Void Sovereign materialized beside him, keeping pace effortlessly. Unlike their previous encounter, the entity seemed less physically defined, its form shifting between states of matter and energy. "You adapt quickly, Guardian," the Sovereign observed. "Most beings go mad when first experiencing multiplanar perception." "Maybe I'm just built different," Goku replied with a hint of humor, though his guard remained up. "Or maybe centuries babysitting a deity who can erase universes on a whim prepares you for weird experiences." "Perhaps both," the Sovereign acknowledged. "How do you find your expanded awareness?" "Disorienting. Enlightening. Overwhelming." Goku shot the entity a sideways glance. "If you're asking whether the attunement is messing with my head, the answer is no. I still remember my duty. I'm still coming for Zeno-sama." "Of course you are," the Sovereign agreed easily. "I would expect nothing less. But duty can take many forms, can it not? Especially when one's understanding evolves. You know, for a supposed primordial entity, you talk an awful lot like a fortune cookie," Goku remarked, accelerating his pace slightly. "Where's Zeno-sama?" The Sovereign kept pace effortlessly. "At the confluence, the nexus point where all realities intersect. Where the original separation occurred." Original separation? Between order and chaos. Between singular authority and balanced opposition. The Sovereign's form rippled. Between Zeno and the other primordials. Goku processed this, correlating it with the visions he'd experienced during attunement. "You're saying Zeno wasn't always alone? That there were others like him?" "Not like him, complementary to him," the Sovereign corrected. "Opposing forces in perfect tension, creating a balanced cosmos through their creative disagreement. Order and chaos, creation and destruction, expansion and contraction, all aspects represented, none dominant. Until something happened," Goku surmised. The Sovereign's energy darkened momentarily. "Until ambition happened. Until the desire for singular control overwhelmed the wisdom of balanced opposition." Ahead, the pathway began to solidify, leading toward what appeared to be a massive spherical chamber suspended in void. Unlike the endless dark of regular space, this void pulsed with colors that had no names in mortal languages, the raw potential of uncreated reality. "The confluence," the Sovereign confirmed, following Goku's gaze. Where all things began, and where the current order will be unmade and remade. Goku's pace didn't falter. And Zeno-sama is there. Indeed. Contained but unharmed, as promised. Why are you letting me go to him? Goku asked directly. You must know I plan to stop whatever you're doing. The sovereign's form seemed almost amused. Because stopping me is impossible without understanding me. And understanding me requires confronting the truth about Zeno. About the multiverse. About yourself. More cryptic talk, Goku sighed. Fine. Let's get this over with. They approached the confluence, its structure becoming clearer as they neared. Not a chamber exactly, but a spherical nexus where countless reality threads converged, woven together into patterns of staggering complexity. At its center floated a containment field, and within it, a small figure Goku immediately recognized. Zeno-sama. The Omni King turned at Goku's voice, childlike face lighting up with genuine joy. Goku. You came. I knew you would. Surrounding the containment field stood 12 figures, void commanders arranged in a ceremonial circle, maintaining the barrier through combined effort. They stared at Goku's approach but made no move to intercept him. They won't interfere, the sovereign stated as Goku tensed for battle. This encounter was inevitable, predestined, you might say, though I dislike such deterministic concepts. Goku approached the containment field cautiously, assessing its structure. Complex but not impenetrable, especially to his newly enhanced perception. Zeno pressed tiny hands against the barrier, still smiling despite his imprisonment. You had an adventure. Zeno declared excitedly. And you changed. Your energy looks pretty now, all swirly with new colors. Even in captivity, Zeno maintained his childlike demeanor. But looking at him now, with his expanded awareness, Goku perceived something he'd never fully appreciated before, the immense, ancient power contained within that deceptively innocent form. Power that didn't match the childish personality. Power that felt, constrained somehow. Limited. I'm going to get you out, Zeno-sama, Goku promised, studying the containment field's energy patterns. I know. Zeno nodded confidently. But first, I think the Shadow Man wants to talk. He's been trying to remind me of things. Old things. Before things. Goku looked from Zeno to the Sovereign. What have you been telling him? Only the truth of his own origins, the Sovereign replied. A truth he chose to forget when he reshaped reality to his preference. The Sovereign moved to the center of the confluence, where reality threads converged most densely. With a gesture, the threads rearranged themselves to form a three-dimensional image, a representation of an earlier cosmic configuration. Behold the original harmony, the Sovereign declared. 12 primordials in perfect opposition, their creative tension generating infinite realities, infinite possibilities. No single authority, no arbitrary erasure of timelines or universes that failed to entertain. The image shifted, showing conflicts erupting between the primordial entities, cosmic-scale battles that tore through reality itself. Goku watched, mesmerized despite himself. Then came discord. Disagreement about the fundamental nature of existence. Some, like myself, advocated for greater freedom, more chaos, more possibility. Others, including the entity you know as Zeno, preferred greater order, stability, predictability. Another shift, and the image showed a cataclysmic confrontation, primordials against primordials in a war that shattered reality itself. The great sundering, the Sovereign continued. When compromise became impossible and conflict inevitable. When existence itself was torn apart in the struggle for dominance. A final shift showed a single primordial, recognizably Zeno despite a more mature appearance, standing amidst cosmic devastation, reshaping the fragments into a new, more rigid pattern, the 12 universes of the current multiverse. And then there was one, the Sovereign concluded. The victor rewrote reality to his specifications, established absolute authority, and simplified existence into manageable units for his amusement. The other primordials were not destroyed, such beings cannot truly die, but banished, imprisoned in the void between realities. Goku turned to Zeno, searching the Omni King's face for his reaction. To his surprise, Zeno didn't seem shocked or defensive, just thoughtful, with an uncharacteristic sadness in his usually bright eyes. "Zeno-sama. Is this true?" Zeno fidgeted, suddenly looking every bit the child caught in wrongdoing. "Sort of. Maybe. It was a really long time ago, Goku. And everyone was fighting so much. Everything was always changing and hurting and breaking. I just wanted things to be nice. Simple. Fun." The simple admission carried such weight that Goku found himself momentarily speechless. Here was Zeno, absolute ruler of all existence, destroyer of universes, essentially admitting to cosmic-scale simplification because complexity was too troublesome. "So you locked the other primordials away," Goku stated, not asking. Zeno nodded slowly. "They wouldn't stop fighting. Wouldn't stop making everything complicated. I thought maybe if they had a timeout for a while, they'd learn to play nice." His expression brightened slightly. "Like how you sometimes make me take timeouts when I get too irasy." The comparison between cosmic imprisonment and a child's disciplinary timeout would have been comical if the stakes weren't so enormous. "A timeout that has lasted billions of years," the sovereign added dryly. "During which countless potential realities were prevented from manifestation, countless beings denied existence because they didn't fit the simplified model. And now you want to undo everything," Goku surmised. "Return to the original chaos." "Not chaos, creative tension," the sovereign corrected. "Balance through opposition. The natural state of a healthy cosmos." Goku frowned, processing this information against his own experience and the visions from the attunement. "And where do I fit into all this? You called me a counterbalance, what does that mean exactly?" The sovereign's form shifted, becoming more defined as it focused entirely on Goku. When Zeno established the new order, he recognized the inherent danger of unchecked power, even his own. A fail-safe was required, a counterbalance with the potential to check his authority should it become necessary. "So he created me?" Goku asked, feeling uncomfortable with the idea of being designed as a cosmic backup plan. "Not created," the sovereign clarified. "Selected. Your soul has existed across multiple cosmic cycles, Guardian. In many forms, in many roles, but always with the same essential nature, a protector with the unique capacity to transcend limitations, to achieve what should be impossible. In this cycle, Zeno arranged for your scion birth, a race already designed for combat and transformation, then brought you into divine service where your potential could be nurtured in specific directions." Goku looked at Zeno questioningly. The Omni King shrugged. "You were a good baby. Happy and strong. And your soul light matched with mine. That's important for guardians." "Soul resonance," Goku murmured, remembering the Grand Priest's explanation. "Indeed," the sovereign confirmed. "A harmonic connection that allows you, and only you, to potentially stand against Zeno's power if necessary. The ultimate check and balance in a system otherwise defined by absolute authority." Goku crossed his arms, still skeptical. If Zeno-sama wanted a check on his power, why not just bring back one of you primordials? Why go through all the trouble of finding a specific soul, arranging a scion birth, centuries of guardian training? "Because we would have immediately opposed him," the sovereign answered. "Our fundamental nature is opposition to singular control. You, however, could be raised within the system, loyal to it, defending it, until the moment cosmic balance truly required intervention." "Convenient theory," Goku noted. "But it doesn't explain why I should help you instead of Zeno-sama right now." The sovereign gestured to the reality thread surrounding them. "Look closer, Guardian. With your enhanced perception. See what has become of the multiverse under singular control." Goku hesitated, then extended his senses as the attunement had taught him. The reality threads resolved into clearer patterns, and what he saw troubled him deeply. Stagnation. Repetition. Potential futures withering before they could manifest. The 12 universes, for all their apparent diversity, following increasingly narrow paths. Cosmic entropy, the sovereign explained. The natural consequence of removing creative tension from the system. Without opposition, without the generative power of competing visions, reality itself begins to wind down, like a clock gradually losing its spring tension. Is that true, Zeno-sama? Goku asked, turning back to the contained Omni King. Zeno looked uncomfortable. Maybe. Running everything is hard, Goku. Sometimes I get tired of making new ideas. Sometimes it's easier just to erase stuff I don't like and start over. The childlike admission contained a devastating truth: the entire multiverse was subject to the creative limitations of a single entity. One being, no matter how powerful, couldn't maintain the diversity and innovation that naturally emerged from competing perspectives. So what's your solution? Goku asked the sovereign, mind racing with implications. Overthrow Zeno-sama. Return to endless conflict between primordials. Not overthrow, reintegrate, the sovereign corrected. Return to balanced opposition, yes, but with new safeguards to prevent the destructive conflicts of the past. A cosmic council rather than absolute monarchy or anarchic competition. And what happens to the current universes? To all the beings currently existing? They continue, expanded rather than replaced. The transition can be managed without wholesale destruction, if managed properly. The sovereign's gaze intensified. Which is where you become essential, guardian. The counterbalance. The bridge between old and new. Goku looked between Zeno and the sovereign, weighing impossible choices. His duty as guardian demanded he free Zeno and restore the status quo. His expanded awareness showed him the stagnation inherent in that status quo. And somewhere deeper, his scion instincts responded to the promise of greater challenge, greater possibility inherent in the sovereign's vision. What would I need to do? He asked finally. Goku? Zeno's voice was uncertain, a child sensing betrayal. I'm just gathering information, Zeno-sama, Goku reassured him, though not entirely convinced himself. The sovereign gestured to the center of the confluence. The restoration requires three components: a primordial of order, Zeno, a primordial of change, myself, and a bridging element capable of harmonizing opposing forces, you, guardian. Together, we could initiate a controlled restoration of creative tension without the destructive aspects of the original conflict. And if I refuse? Then eventually, we force the issue, the sovereign stated plainly. The void essence incursions will continue, growing stronger, more coordinated. The multiverse's defenses will gradually weaken as cosmic entropy accelerates. Eventually, the barriers will fail completely, and the restoration will occur chaotically rather than methodically. Threatening the current universes, Goku concluded. Inevitably, the sovereign confirmed without apology. Goku fell silent, considering everything he'd learned. The expanded awareness granted by the attunement allowed him to perceive the truth in the sovereign's words, the gradual winding down of cosmic possibility, the stagnation hidden beneath the appearance of stability. At the same time, his loyalty to Zeno, built over centuries of guardian service, remained powerful. I need to speak with Zeno-sama, Goku decided. Alone. The sovereign studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well. The containment field will permit your entry but prevent his exit until our discussion concludes. It withdrew several paces, giving them the illusion of privacy. Goku approached the barrier, placing his palm against its surface. His enhanced energy resonated with the field, creating an opening that allowed him to step through. The barrier sealed behind him, leaving him alone in the containment with Zeno. Immediately, the Omni King floated up to eye level, tiny face serious. You changed, Goku. Your energy is different now. Yeah, Goku agreed, kneeling to be closer to Zeno's height. I had to find you. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? Zeno shook his head. No hurting. Just talking. Lots and lots of talking about before times. It made my head feel funny, like remembering things I forgot on purpose. About the other primordials. About the war. Zeno nodded slowly. I didn't want to remember those parts. Fighting is only fun when it's a game, Goku. When it's real fighting with other big power people, everything breaks. Everything hurts. So you locked the others away and made a simpler multiverse, Goku summarized gently. I thought I was making things better, Zeno said, uncharacteristic maturity flickering in his eyes. Easier to watch. Easier to play with. Easier to keep safe. He looked down at his small hands. But the Shadow Man says I made things too simple. That simple things eventually stop growing. And what do you think, Zeno-sama? Goku asked carefully. Is he right? Zeno was quiet for a long moment, genuinely contemplating the question. When he spoke again, his voice carried a weight that belied his childlike appearance. Sometimes I get bored, Goku. Even with 12 whole universes to watch. Sometimes I see the same things happening over and over. That's when I start thinking about erasing stuff. He looked up, eyes wide with sudden insight. Maybe that's because things aren't changing enough on their own. Because there's only me making big decisions. The simple observation contained profound wisdom. Goku felt a surge of pride in his charge. Beneath the capricious exterior, there was genuine intelligence trying to wrestle with concepts too vast for most beings to comprehend. What if there was a way to make things more interesting without erasing them? Goku suggested. To have more big ideas from more people like you, but without all the fighting that happened before. Zeno tilted his head, considering. Like a game with more players. But with rules so nobody breaks everything. Something like that, Goku agreed. Would you be willing to try that? To share some of your authority if it meant a healthier multiverse? Zeno floated in small circles, thinking hard. I'd still get to create stuff. Still get to play. Of course. And you'd still be my guardian. My friend? Goku smiled warmly. Always, Zeno-sama. The Omni King nodded decisively. Then okay. We can try the Shadow Man's idea. But if it gets too fight Y and break Y, we stop right away. Deal, Goku agreed, standing up. He turned toward the barrier where the Sovereign waited. We have terms. The containment field dissolved at the Sovereign's gesture, allowing Zeno to float free. The Void commanders tensed but remained in their positions around the confluence. Terms, the Sovereign inquired, its form rippling with what might have been surprise. Zeno-sama is willing to consider restoration of the Primordial Council, Goku stated firmly. With conditions. First, the restoration happens gradually, controlled, without disrupting the current universes. Second, clear rules are established to prevent the destructive conflicts of the past. Third, I remain as guardian and mediator, with authority to intervene if those rules are broken. The Sovereign was silent for a moment, studying both Goku and Zeno. Interesting. I had anticipated resistance, threats, perhaps a battle that would reshape the confluence itself. Not, negotiation. Then you don't understand Zeno-sama as well as you think, Goku replied. Or me. Evidently not, the Sovereign acknowledged. Though perhaps this speaks to why you were chosen as counterbalance. Your capacity to find third options where others see only binary choices. Zeno floated up to the Sovereign, looking remarkably unintimidated by the entity that had imprisoned him. If we're going to play together again, you have to promise not to be so grumpy all the time. And no breaking universes just because you don't like how they're made. The Sovereign's form shifted in what might have been amusement. As you are required to promise not to erase realities on a whim. It seems we both have habits to break, old friend. So we have an agreement. Goku pressed, still wary of potential deception. We have the beginning of one, the sovereign replied cautiously. The details will require considerable negotiation. The other primordials must be consulted, some have grown, unstable during their imprisonment. Their reintegration must be handled with extraordinary care. One at a time, then, Goku suggested. Starting with the most stable, the most willing to cooperate. A wise approach, the sovereign agreed. And a test case for the process. Zeno clapped his hands excitedly. Like a practice game before the big tournament. Smart, Goku. Goku smiled at his charge's enthusiasm while maintaining focus on the broader implications. How do we begin? The sovereign moved to the center of the confluence, where the reality threads converged most densely. The first step is re-establishing connections, controlled openings between the current multiverse and the void realms where the primordials have been contained. Like the breaches you've been creating, Goku observed. Similar, but with purpose rather than desperation, the sovereign confirmed. Properly structured gateways rather than forced tiers in reality. And you need us for that? Goku asked. Indeed. The process requires representatives of both current and potential realities. Order, change, and balance, Zeno, myself, and you, Guardian. Goku looked to Zeno, who nodded encouragingly. Okay then. Show us what to do. The sovereign directed them to specific positions within the confluence, Zeno at what might be called north, the sovereign at south, and Goku at the precise center where all reality threads intersected. The void commanders rearranged themselves in a wider circle, maintaining the integrity of the space itself. Focus your energy not outward, but inward, the sovereign instructed. Toward the connection points between realities. Visualize not separation, but controlled integration. Barriers becoming permeable without dissolving completely. Goku centered himself, drawing on both his guardian training and his newly enhanced perception. He could feel the multiverse structure around them, Zeno's creation, elegant in its simplicity but rigid, limiting. And beyond it, the void realms, chaotic but vibrant with potential. The challenge was creating connections without allowing either to overwhelm the other. Zeno's energy, pure creation and erasure, flowed from one direction. The sovereign's energy, change and transformation, from another. Goku's unique dual nature allowed him to receive both, harmonize them, and redirect the combined force toward the reality barriers. The confluence chamber began to glow with unprecedented energy patterns as the process took effect. Reality threads reconfigured themselves, forming new connections while maintaining their original integrity. Goku could feel the strain on his body and mind. This was power on a scale beyond anything he'd ever channeled before, even as Zeno's guardian. It's working, the sovereign observed, its form becoming more defined, more substantial as its connection to conventional reality strengthened. The first pathways are forming. Through his expanded awareness, Goku perceived distant realms responding to the changes, void spaces where other primordials had been contained for eons, stirring with renewed awareness. Some radiated curiosity, others wariness, a few unmistakable hostility. I can sense them, Goku reported, maintaining his focus on the harmonization process. The other primordials. Not all of them feel stable. As expected, the sovereign acknowledged. Eons of isolation have affected them differently. Some have grown, evolved their understanding. Others have festered in resentment. Then we proceed cautiously, Goku insisted. One connection at a time, starting with the most receptive. Zeno, surprisingly, showed the greatest concentration during the process. His childlike face was uncharacteristically serious as he directed his immense power with unexpected precision. I remember this, he murmured. Working together to make big things. It was good before the fighting started. The first gateway stabilized, a controlled opening between the current multiverse and a specific void realm. Through it, Goku perceived another primordial, a being of swirling celestial energy arranged in patterns suggesting growth and renewal. Unlike the void sovereign star-void composition, this entity resembled a living constellation of emerald light. The gardener, the sovereign identified. Most contemplative of our kind, focused on cultivation rather than creation or destruction. A fitting first restoration. The emerald entity approached the gateway cautiously, its energy patterns expressing something like cautious hope. It paused at the threshold, awaiting invitation. Zeno floated forward, tiny hand extended toward the gateway. Hello again. Want to come play? I promise not to erase you if you promise not to make everything too complicated all at once. The directness of the offer, so characteristic of Zeno's childlike approach, somehow cut through eons of separation better than any formal diplomacy could have. The gardener's energy pulsed with what felt like amusement, then acceptance. It extended a tendril of emerald light, connecting with Zeno's outstretched hand. The contact created a harmonic resonance throughout the confluence, order and growth, once opposed, now tentatively reunited. Goku felt the multiverse structure itself respond, subtle changes rippling outward as new potential began to manifest in previously static systems. The first reconciliation, the sovereign observed, something like satisfaction in its multi-toned voice. A beginning. The gardener fully emerged through the gateway, its form adapting to the current reality parameters. Like the sovereign, it manifested as vaguely humanoid, though composed entirely of emerald cosmic energy arranged in growing, branching patterns. Greetings, counterbalance, it acknowledged Goku, its voice a harmonic blend of rustling leaves and crystalline chimes. Your existence was prophesied, though the form you've taken is unexpected. I get that a lot, Goku replied with a slight smile. Welcome back to, well, reality, I guess. A simplified version thereof, the gardener noted without rancor. But with potential for renewal. It turned to Zeno. Your isolation has changed you, architect. There is more flexibility in your patterns than before. Zeno bounced excitedly in midair. I learned new games. And Goku taught me about taking turns and sharing and sometimes not erasing things even when they're annoying. The gardener's energy pattern shifted in what might have been amusement. Guardian lessons for a primordial. Fascinating adaptation. The question remains, the sovereign interjected, how we proceed from this first step. The gardener's reintegration is relatively straightforward, but others will prove more challenging. We take it slowly, Goku insisted. Establish protocols, test them with each new reintegration, adjust as needed. The current universes continue functioning while we gradually introduce more diversity, more potential. A measured approach, the gardener agreed. Wise, given our history. The rapid reintegration of all primordials would likely trigger the same conflicts that led to the sundering. Zeno tugged at Goku's sleeve. Can we go home now? I want to show the plant-light person my creation room. And I'm getting hungry. Goku couldn't help but smile at the reminder that, despite cosmic revelations and primordial reintegrations, Zeno still fundamentally approached existence with a child's priorities. Soon, Zeno-sama, he promised. First, we need to establish some ground rules for this new arrangement. Over the next few hours, or what passed for hours in a realm where conventional time had little meaning, they negotiated the framework for what the sovereign termed the restoration. Key agreements were reached. First, the reintegration of primordials would proceed gradually, with each new entity carefully evaluated before the next was approached. Zeno would retain primary authority over the current multiverse structure, with new primordials granted specific domains of influence rather than equal control over all reality. Second, a council of primordials would be established, with decisions affecting multiple reality systems requiring majority agreement rather than unilateral action. Goku, as counterbalance, would serve as mediator and, if necessary, enforcer of council agreements. Third, the existing universes and their inhabitants would be preserved, with changes introduced as expansions rather than replacements, new possibilities alongside the established order rather than overriding it. This is but a framework, the sovereign cautioned as they concluded their discussion. Implementing these agreements will present countless challenges we cannot yet foresee. One step at a time, Goku replied pragmatically. Today we prevented a conflict that could have destroyed everything. Tomorrow we figure out how to build something better. The gardener's energy pulsed with approval. The counterbalance speaks wisdom. Creation, destruction, and preservation in balanced measure, this has always been the ideal we strived for, before ambition led us astray. Zeno, who had been surprisingly patient throughout the negotiations, finally reached his limit. Talking is boring. Let's go home and eat and play, and then maybe tomorrow we can start bringing back the not too grumpy ones. Goku laughed, the familiar exuberance of his charge a welcome counterpoint to cosmic-scale discussions. You heard the Omni King. Time to head back to the palace and start implementing all these fancy plans. The sovereign nodded, its form beginning to shift as it prepared to return to the Void Realm temporarily. I will begin preparations for the gardener's formal reintegration ceremony. The symbolic aspects are important for reality stabilization. More ceremonies, Goku sighed. Just what I needed. The burden of the counterbalance, the gardener observed with something like sympathy. Forever between realms, between duties. Zeno tugged insistently at Goku's hand. Home time now. You got it, Zeno-sama. Goku turned to the sovereign. Open the pathway back to the palace. We'll continue this tomorrow after everyone's had time to adjust. The journey back to Zeno's palace was considerably smoother than the outbound trip had been. Goku's enhanced perception allowed him to navigate the paths between realities with newfound confidence, guiding Zeno through the transit network with practiced ease. They emerged in the creation chamber, which still showed signs of the earlier confrontation. The celestial guards immediately surrounded them, weapons raised until they confirmed Zeno's identity. Stand down, Goku ordered. The Omni King has returned safely. Alert the Grand Priest immediately. One guard departed swiftly while the others maintained a protective formation around Zeno, who was already floating around examining the damage to his favorite creation toys with dismay. They broke my galaxy spinner, he complained, holding up a damaged device that normally allowed him to create miniature spiral galaxies. And my supernova simulator. We'll fix them, Zeno-sama, Goku assured him. Or make new ones, even better than before. The Grand Priest arrived moments later, his usually composed demeanor showing visible relief at Zeno's safe return. Omni King. Guardian Goku. You've returned. His gaze sharpened as he noted the changes in Goku's energy signature. And with significant developments, it appears. That's putting it mildly, Goku agreed. We need to talk, about the primordials, about cosmic restructuring, and about a lot of history that apparently got simplified in the official records. The Grand Priest's expression revealed nothing, but his energy pattern shifted subtly, surprise, calculation, and something that might have been concern. I see. Perhaps such discussions should wait until the Omni King has rested and, no more waiting and hiding stuff, Zeno interrupted with unusual assertiveness. Goku knows about the before times now. And we're bringing back the other big power people, starting with the plant light one. The Grand Priest went perfectly still. Bringing back, the other primordials. Omni King, with all due respect, the sundering was implemented for good reason. The conflicts between primordials nearly destroyed all existence. That was then, Zeno replied with a dismissive wave. We're smarter now. We have Goku to help keep everyone playing nice. The Grand Priest turned to Goku, genuine concern now visible. Guardian, surely you understand the risks. The primordials in conflict generated reality-destroying power beyond even my ability to contain. I understand the risks of both paths, Goku replied evenly. Continued isolation leads to cosmic entropy, I've seen it through enhanced perception. The multiverse is stagnating under singular control, no matter how well-intentioned. Controlled reintegration offers renewal without destruction. Enhanced perception, the Grand Priest repeated, noticing the threads of cosmic blue now woven through Goku's golden guardian energy. You've undergone attunement. That was never meant to be accessible to me. Goku finished. Yeah, I'm getting that there's a lot that was never meant for me to know or do. But here we are. Zeno floated between them, sensing the tension. Goku did good, Grand Priest. He found me, made friends with the Shadow Man instead of just fighting, and figured out how everybody can play together without breaking everything. The Grand Priest sighed, a remarkably human gesture from the normally impassive divine attendant. If this is your will, Omni King, then of course we shall implement it. I merely urge caution in the process. That's exactly what Goku said. Zeno exclaimed proudly. Everybody's being smart today. Preparations will be required, the Grand Priest continued, already shifting to implementation mode despite his reservations. The palace structure must be modified to accommodate primordial energies. The divine hierarchies must be informed. The gods of destruction will need new protocols. All that can start tomorrow, Goku suggested, noting Zeno's increasing distraction. For now, I think the Omni King needs rest and restoration after his experience. Of course, the Grand Priest agreed. I shall oversee the immediate security enhancements personally. The Void Essence incursions should cease now that an agreement has been reached, but prudence dictates continued vigilance. As the Grand Priest departed to begin preparations, Zeno tugged at Goku's sleeve once more. Goku? Are you different now? Because of the blue swirly energy and knowing about before stuff? Goku knelt to Zeno's level, giving the question the consideration it deserved. I'm still your guardian, Zeno-sama. Still your friend. I just understand more now, about you, about the multiverse, about myself. Good, Zeno declared firmly. Because changing is okay, but not changing who you are inside. That's important. Very important, Goku agreed, touched by the wisdom in the childlike observation. Now, how about we get you some food and rest? Tomorrow's going to be a big day. The biggest. Zeno agreed enthusiastically. We're going to start fixing everything that got too simple. As they left the creation chamber, Goku felt the weight of his expanded role settling on his shoulders. No longer just Zeno's guardian, but multiverse mediator. Counterbalance between order and chaos. Bridge between old and new cosmic paradigms. It was a responsibility beyond anything he could have imagined when he first sensed the void essence breach what seemed like a lifetime ago. Yet somehow, it felt right, as if his centuries of service had been preparing him for exactly this moment, this evolution. His scion instincts, always hungry for greater challenges, hummed with anticipation. His guardian training provided the discipline to approach those challenges methodically. And his newly awakened cosmic awareness offered perspective that neither alone could provide. Goku smiled to himself as he watched Zeno bounce ahead, already planning which toys to show the gardener when it arrived. Despite cosmic stakes and primordial politics, some things remained wonderfully consistent, like Zeno's childlike enthusiasm, undimmed by the revelation of his ancient and complex origins. One day at a time, Goku murmured to himself. One challenge at a time. That had always been his approach, from his earliest training as guardian to his confrontations with void essence entities. The scale might have changed dramatically, but the core principle remained: face each challenge directly, with all your strength and wisdom, then move forward to the next. The multiverse was changing, reality itself expanding toward new possibilities. And Goku, once a scion infant chosen for divine service, now stood at the center of that transformation, not just as Zeno's guardian, but as existence's counterbalance. It was, he decided with characteristic optimism, going to be quite an adventure. 3 months after what cosmic records would later call the reconciliation, Goku stood on the observation bridge of Zeno's palace, watching the gardener and the sovereign work together to enhance a struggling galaxy in Universe 7. Their combined efforts, growth and transformation in harmony, had already revitalized several cosmic systems that had been stagnating under the previous paradigm. Impressive progress, observed a familiar voice behind him. Goku turned to find Whis approaching, the angel's expression one of genuine curiosity. I thought you'd be busy keeping Beerus from destroying things out of sheer grumpiness over the new arrangements. Whis chuckled. Lord Beerus is actually quite fascinated by the developments. The gods of destruction are discovering their role has more nuance now that creation and destruction are being rebalanced. It's educational for them. That's one way to put it, Goku replied with a grin. How's Earth doing? I've been meaning to visit but things have been hectic here. Thriving. Bulma has been granted special permission to study primordial energy patterns, under strict supervision, of course. Her theories on harmonic resonance between mortal and divine realms are actually quite insightful. And Vegeta? Training relentlessly, as always, Whis replied. Though now with renewed purpose. The revelation of Saiyan origins as cosmic warriors created for the original primordial conflicts has given him much to contemplate. Goku nodded, understanding the prince's likely reaction to such knowledge. Tell him I'll visit soon for that rematch he wanted. Once the next primordial reintegration is complete. Ah yes, the Weaver, I believe. Specialist in connecting disparate realities. That's the one, Goku confirmed. Should be interesting. The Gardener's reintegration went smoother than expected, but each primordial brings different challenges. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the cosmic work unfolding in the view screen before them. Finally, Whis spoke again, his tone more serious. The Grand Priest remains concerned, you know. About the pace of change, about your expanded role. About balance. I know, Goku acknowledged. He's right to be cautious. We're reshaping fundamental cosmic structures that have been stable for eons. If we move too quickly, we risk the same conflicts that led to the sundering in the first place. Yet you seem remarkably comfortable with your new position, Whis observed. The counterbalance. Mediator between primordials. Far beyond the traditional guardian role. Goku shrugged. I'm still figuring it out day by day. But it feels right, like this is what I was always meant to do, even if I didn't know it. Because you were designed for it? Whis asked carefully. Because I chose it, Goku corrected firmly. Whatever I was designed for, whatever soul resonance or cosmic pattern made me compatible with this role, the choice to accept it was mine. That makes all the difference. Whis smiled, apparently satisfied with the answer. Well said. Choice has always been your defining characteristic, according to the records. Even when destiny seemed to be closing in from all sides. Below them, in one of the palace's expanded chambers, Zeno could be seen playing what looked like a cosmic version of chess with the gardener, creating and growing miniature reality systems according to complex rules they appeared to be inventing on the fly. The Omni King's face showed intense concentration mixed with genuine joy. He's changing too, Goku observed. Growing beyond the simplified personality he adopted after the sundering. Becoming more integrated. Growth is the nature of existence, Whis replied philosophically. Even for primordials, apparently. A celestial guard approached, bowing respectfully. Counterbalance Goku, your presence is requested in the council chamber. The Sovereign and the Gardener have completed their work in Universe 7 and wish to discuss the preparations for the Weaver's reintegration ceremony. Duty calls, Goku said to Whis with a small smile. Feel free to stay and observe. The more the angels understand these changes, the smoother the transitions will be throughout the divine hierarchies. Whis bowed slightly. I would be honored. As Goku walked toward the council chamber, he reflected on the extraordinary journey that had brought him to this point. From Saiyan infant to divine guardian to cosmic mediator, a path no one could have predicted, not even the primordials with their vast awareness. The multiverse was expanding, not just physically but in complexity, in possibility, in potential. Creative tension was being restored gradually, carefully, with wisdom earned through previous failures. Order and chaos, creation and destruction, preservation and transformation, all finding new balance through conscious choice rather than cosmic conflict. And at the center of it all stood Goku, once born as Zeno's guardian, now evolved into something greater yet fundamentally unchanged in his core nature, a protector who faced each challenge with determination, adaptability, and an unquenchable spirit of adventure. The blue-gold energy of his enhanced guardian power swirled around him as he entered the council chamber, ready to face whatever cosmic challenges awaited. One step at a time. One day at a time. Just as he always had. Some things, even in an expanding multiverse of infinite possibility, remained wonderfully constant. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.